that's the one God made, and that's the truth. But man, keep on trying to hold me back while another chicken head come home to roost. Too strong, try to do me wrong, and the last one standing will order and command you to dance. Oh, dance.
Well, tell your preacher and your teacher I'ma give you what you love. I got to give you what you love. It's time to give you what you love. Give you what you love. Give you some love. Yeah, baby. I said I take your time, take what you love, baby, just enough, but never too much, baby. Take your time, take what you love, and when that baby cry, you better look at that, baby. Take your time, take what you love, baby, just enough, but never too much, baby. Take your time, and when it give me some love, won't you give me what you love?
Welcome, welcome, welcome to The Source. It's your girl, that Island Diva, Divine Mother Diva on the phone. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WordRadio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. Listen, lots and lots of stuff is going on outside. It is 1:07 p.m. It is 83 degrees, and I have a full roster. So let's get started, shall we? I also want you to know that the last two segments of the show between 3:21 and 4, I've got a lot to talk to you about, so please stay tuned, and we'll go from there, okay? I do have a new producer in here, Mike. Hi, Mike. Say hi to everybody. So Mike is getting his stuff together, and so we're going to make sure we get it all worked out because we have lots of great things happening. Today, at the 1 o'clock hour, we have Lisa Brown. Lisa is passionate about educational equity and exploring racial representation in children's literature with educators and families. She's currently the pedagogical instructional administrator at an early childhood program in Philadelphia. Lisa is a certified professional development instructor and trainer. She has a master's in educational leadership from Arcadia University and a bachelor's in early childhood education from Chestnut Hill College. Originally from South Africa, Johannesburg, she lives with her husband and adorable son in Philadelphia, where she is a huge fan of the parks, trails, and pools in the Westmount area neighborhood where they reside. In her spare time, she is writing a children's book, reading a radical book by a dope black author, and dreaming of ways to change the world. The Colorful Stories mission. Colorful Stories is to support families and educators in using children's books as tools to have conversations about racism, and justice. Colorful Stories also shares racially diverse children's literature with an unapologetic emphasis on positive black representation. Our hope is to support families, educators, and librarians starting or expanding their racially diverse home, classroom, and organizational libraries for young children birth to 8 years old. Lisa Brown, welcome to The Source.
Thank you so much for having me, Andrea. It's such an honor and pleasure to be speaking with you today.
It is such a pleasure. So now you had me at hello, right? You talked about you love the parks, the Colorful Stories mission. You know, Mother's all about the young people, right?
There we go.
If they didn't tell you, now you know. Mm-hmm. So for you to be on is really good for me. Tell me about the Colorful Stories mission.
Yeah. So at Colorful Stories, we are all about our Black, our Asian, our brown, and indigenous children, and just ensuring that they're represented positively in their classroom spaces, in their learning spaces, as well as just in their homes, you know.
Yes.
And a great way for us to be able to do that is through literacy, right? Whether we're supporting families at home building their personal library, or whether we are supporting organizations such as, you know, the Free Library, who we've had partnerships with, in ensuring that the books are reflective of the children, all children.
So let me ask you this. What got you here to the Colorful Stories mission? What is that? How did you get to this place?
Yeah, actually, that's been a journey. And I want to start off by saying, like, a big part of my how and my why, I have to share with you a quote from Marion Wright Edelman.
Oh, she's one of my favorite people.
There we go. She's an activist for child's rights. And one of my favorite quotes by her reads, "The outside world told Black kids when I was growing up that we weren't worth anything, but our parents said it wasn't so, and our school teachers said it wasn't so. They believed in us, and we therefore believed in ourselves." And that over there hits me on so many levels because, one, I've been an early childhood educator for over a dozen years now, right? And so being an educator and, having that direct access, to children, I always wanted to make sure that our Black and brown children saw themselves and were affirmed in the spaces that I was creating,
Right.
For them to learn. And now, I am the mother of an almost 3-year-old son,
Yes.
Jude, who I love and actually, is the big reason behind my why with Colorful Stories. And so Colorful Stories was really officially birthed about 3 years ago, right before Jude came into this world. But Colorful Stories has very much been developing since I started off as a preschool teacher. I've always been advocating for our Black kids. And now in my role as pedagogical instructional administrator, I do a lot of our curriculum development.
Yes.
And that's a great way for me to ensure that our children are seeing themselves. Another reason that there's a big why behind Colorful Stories is, unfortunately, in college, where teachers are going for that preparatory education, we are unfortunately not always, being armed
Right.
with all that, knowledge and information in order to ensure that we're creating these safe spaces where our children can thrive. And so a big part of Colorful Stories is I'm trained as a professional development instructor, and what I do is I like to work with adults to support them in supporting young children.
That's awesome. Well, you found your why. That's awesome. Lots of people get to 100 years old and don't know what their why is. You found your why really easily, I would say, at this point, because that's a why that is so important and will always be important, Lisa. When you think about it, our culture, what drives us is knowing who we are and where we come from, right?
Yeah.
So when children go to school and they hear nothing about their history and they know nothing about who they are as their culture other than what they see on Instagram or Facebook or any parts of social media, then they are missing a huge chunk of their identity, right?
Absolutely.
And so when things start to happen and we say, no, that's not the way it should be because such and such, they don't know what such and such was because no one taught it to them. Right? And while we put the emphasis on families, having access to the materials so that families will be able to say, here, read this, and let's talk about this. That's an excellent way to do that. And now you're working with educators. A pedagogical instructor it is super important. We need to take you and clone you and put you in every school district everywhere, because I swear, Lisa, they keep saying things like, well, we don't know what to use, or they pick the same 3 people, Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman. Like, come on. There's so much beauty and goodness within us as a people. So I'm glad to hear that you are doing this. You're originally from South Africa.
Born and raised.
Born and raised. How old were you when you came here?
19.
You were 19. So we're about the same age when I popped up. I was 20 when I popped up here in America.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yes. But I'm from Jamaica. And I asked you that question because I want to know what it was like for you to find your way here and then meld into the American culture. I had a time of it, right?
Oh.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And that's why this cultural piece is so important. So tell us a little bit about what that was like for you. That's why you're doing this. This is your why, right?
Absolutely. This is definitely a big part of my why. So I am thinking about Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, A Danger of a Single Story, right? But I had a very similar experience growing up in South Africa, right, where the access to learning materials was totally like a white European standard, in South Africa. And so, basically, I was born and raised in South Africa, came over to America after I'd done extensive work in South Africa with young children. So that was very clear to me very earlier on, like as it related to, you know, my purpose and my mission was always going to be tied to working with children.
Yes.
And so I managed to come to America actually as an au pair, where I lived with a white family over on the main line who I love up until now. And so they were the only people I was coming to here in America. I really did not know anybody else and didn't have family on this side. And so that was the family I stayed with for about 2 years before I decided to, you know, move out.
Yes.
During my time with them, they actually sponsored me to get my associate's degree here at CCP, where I started, and then I was ready to jump into the classroom, you know, immediately. But, you know, as it relates to that just transition and the cultural dynamics of, like, coming from South Africa to here, ooh, there are layers on layers on layers about that. Now, can we say culture shock?
But listen, we can. We absolutely can. And I understand it perfectly.
It happened on so many levels. It was the strangest thing. Like, one of the things when I came here, I was single in America, you know, and just like even the way that men approach, you know, I was used to something different back at home, you know. So I wasn't accustomed to this, and I was confident back then that I was going to go back home to South Africa to find my African prince. But God had a different story for me, and I ended up finding my American husband here a few years later. But there was culture shock on so many levels, including food. You know, I came here to America as somebody who ate meat, poultry, everything, you name it. And then I quickly transitioned to a pescatarian diet just because the meat was not as gamey as the meat that I was familiar with back at home. So that was a thing. Then on another level, as it relates to culture, just the experience of, you know, being black and living as a black woman here in America, that was different for me because, you know, on the other side, we are the majority. We're the global majority. And I was born and raised in South Africa where we were, you know, the majority. And so coming here to America, I think it was just a whole different vibe of, like, really understanding what it's like to be a black woman living here, you know. And so that, I think, continues to still shock me at times as it relates to navigating this world. And I think also just like, you know, I'm a multilingual person too. So there's a language dynamic there too. I think when I came to America, I think I got a lot of vibes that was a deficit. And it took a lot of, you know, affirmation of myself to be like, no, that's not actually it. I get that there's this, like, you know, white dominant standard of this, like, you know, English language. However, I'm dynamic because I am multilingual, multilingual person. And so for me, those are also some of the layers that helped me in connecting with my students, you know, and the educators I work with. You know, we always want to see students as well as their families as such, you know, bringing so much to the table. You know, and that is the culture that they bring with them into our classroom.
So, Lisa, I'm going to ask you to email me at the end of this segment. So I'd like to talk to you about something else from the immigrant standpoint, because what you just discussed with me, and we don't have any time to talk about it, is what I have been trying to impress upon people about immigrants who come to this country over and again. So we'll talk about that. Tell me how people can reach you about the Colorful Stories mission.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're interested in connecting with me, my Instagram handle is colorful_stories. And if you're interested in connecting with me via email, you can catch me at colorfulstoriesinfo, info @gmail.com. And then lastly, I have my website that is up, and that is colorfulstories.org.
Colorful Stories. So we can, are there books that we can buy from you?
So at the moment, there are not. I do have a couple of resources that are available to
good.
I'm actually about to upload an amazing resource, which is going to be my affirmation cards that are free, and they're actually affirmation cards for Black children and Black families.
Okay, so I need some for my grandson.
I got you. I will send you an email.
I will definitely. I would love to see that. Thank you so much, Lisa Brown. Don't forget to email me so we can talk again about something else. Lisa is the early pedagogical instructional administrator at an early childhood program in Philadelphia, and she is the one that started the Colorful Stories mission. If you want to reach her on Instagram, it's colorful_stories. If you want to email her, it's colorfulstoriesinfo@gmail.com. And she now has a website, colorfulstories.org.
That's right.
Colorfulstories.org. Thank you so much, Lisa Brown. It was such a pleasure talking to you, young lady. We'll catch up soon, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you, Andrea.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, I love a good conversation. I could now see that conversation. I could take it to a whole different level. I know I have a caller on the line. I'm going to ask you to hold for a second. Let me take a quick break. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WordRadio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is a number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Weather and traffic to keep you
Don't forget I
informed
have
for
to
your
read
drive home
In the happy hour.
Okay.
with Sincerely Sarita.
Monday through Thursday, 4 till 7 p.m.
Right here
on Word Radio, 96.1 FM.
and 900 AM WURD.
Hey, Word family. Our friends at Amoroso's Baking Company are hiring right now. Amoroso's has been baking the delicious bread in our community for over 100 years, and they want you to join their team today. The old and the young love Amoroso's, and they are hiring right now. Check it out. They offer fair pay and provide health, dental, and prescription plans after 90 days employment. Call 856-754-0355 or visit amorososbaking.com for details.
Listen to Laborers Live.
We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour work day, trying to work people more than 8 hours without overtime, trying to work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.
The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by LESIT, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity.
Local 332, Sam Staten Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager, and Tony Staten, Executive Director of LESIT.
Lifting every voice
Till earth and heaven ring.
This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media.
Welcome back to The Source. The time is 1:24 p.m. and the temperature is 84 degrees. Is brought to you by the Beach Companies with 30 years of serving our community. Check out their website for the free Black Business Directory and their Community Resources Directory at beachcompanies.com. Welcome back to The Source, man. We have, poor Mike has got his hands full. Olean, Nice Town, line 1. Hello.
Greetings.
Hello. How are you?
Good. I was just listening to the interview you had with the woman from South Africa.
Yes.
Is her name Lisa Brown?
Yes, it is.
And I wanted to talk to her because I wrote a book too for children. It's not for the young children such as 3rd or 2nd grade, but it's definitely for middle schoolers, even high schoolers, and even adults.
So here's what I'm going to tell you to do. Can you reach out? I'm going to give you her email right now. You ready?
Okay.
It's Colorful Stories, COLORFUL Stories, info, INFO, @gmail.com. Email her because you'll be a part of her resources, I am sure. Okay?
Okay, great.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, you're quite welcome, sir. Have a good one. Bye-bye. And then I think you better call Tyrone. Tyrone, honey, how you doing?
Hello, Mother. How are you?
I am good, sweetie. How are you?
Mother,
yes.
The reason why I was trying to get in because I wanted to speak with the young lady.
See there now?
You know, back in 1995 when I got my MSW, in one of our courses, my partner in our thesis, he was from South Africa, Brother
oh boy, I done forgot his name that quick. Machala. Well, anyway, and in our thesis, we pretty much predicted, because it was on violence in the community, we pretty much predicted much of the stuff that is happening in today. And the only thing, we did not think it would be as vicious and as, you know, young people being caught up in it. We had no idea, you know, so we did not foresee.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Tyrone? Because you kind of lost me, sir. Tell me what you're talking about.
I said when we got my master.
Yeah, I heard that part. What did you?
One of the brothers that was working with me, because we did a co-program. We did it on violence. And he was from South Africa.
Okay.
And I, you know, wanted to see if she may have knew him, but his name slipped me as soon as I called him. But Mother, the main reason I'm calling, I'm trying to get everybody to look at the convention tonight.
Oh, they're watching, Tyrone. Trust and believe. They're watching.
Because check this out. We're going to make history in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Because one of our freshmen, state legislators,
Malcolm Kenyatta.
I
keep telling you, Mova is on it, man. Mova, I love him so much. Soon as he gets off of the convention floor, I want to interview him. I know him.
And Mother, he has such a history, not only from Yorktown and, you know, being the first community, you know, of its type, and also, you know, Charles Bowser, Charles Fuller, from the Soldier Story.
Yep.
And, you know, King.
Yes.
Martin Luther King.
Yes.
Which
Pastor
all
Waller's
in
on?
Yorktown.
Okay.
So we got a history, and I'm pretty sure that Malcolm is going to let that history push him to what he's going to say tonight.
I agree.
So, Mother, I thank you for allowing me to share. And as always, thank you for taking care of our young folks. And if
always,
any young people are listening, please. He's a millennium. He's a freshman, and he's going to be on the spotlight.
Yeah.
One of the keynotes.
Yes, he
Democratic National Convention.
So can I tell you this, Tyrone? Let me tell you, we all are seeing him. And tomorrow at noon, I'm having a conversation with young people, 18 to 35, to talk about the importance of voting and getting them there. All of us are on the same page, sir. You have a great day, okay?
And thank you, Mother. I love you.
I love you too, man. You have a good one. Okay. All right. Pastor Waller. Pastor Waller?
Hey.
Hey! I couldn't wait to talk to you today. Maurice, hold on. I've got Maurice on the other line, but Maurice can hold on for a second. Let me tell everybody, because, you know, I always don't like to assume that everybody knows who you are. Reverend Dr. Alan E. Waller is the senior pastor of the Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. His partner in marriage and ministry is Dr. Ellen Jo Waller, the leader of Enon's women's ministry and a devoted mother to their two daughters, Ellen Morgan and Erica Lynn. Pastor Waller, how are you?
I am great. How are you? Shout out to Malcolm Kenyatta. We all got to be there representing when he's on.
Yes, I am so excited. He checks off so many boxes, but it's someone who is so caught up in the humaneness of people, right? He didn't just get into office and just sat there. He's really been in the trenches doing the work. I've been watching him, and I'm so happy to see that he is getting the opportunity, Pastor Waller, to just really showcase Philadelphia and what we're about tonight. I can imagine, Pastor Waller, though, that he must be nervous, right? Millions.
I would imagine he's nervous, but that's all right.
Yes.
For such a time as this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So listen, this in the last several months, and I've been reading and watching about these different hate groups that have been emerging. 2 days ago, I saw that one of them from QAnon made it to Congress, right? Won their primary race. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit because I knew intrinsically in having a dialogue with you over the last several weeks that you understood that these hate groups were rising and that you were going to have people at the polls to make sure that folks are there doing what they're supposed to do. Do you know anything about this group, sir?
I don't know a lot about that group. I only know that groups like that have been developing, and there's an interesting tie between these groups and the development of mixed martial arts,
Yes.
UFC.
Yes.
A lot of these fight camps have been camps that, and I know that because I'm sort of in that world as well, and have trained at some mixed martial arts places. And the truth of the matter is, this thing has been bubbling up over the last 15 years.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
so
sir.
that's why we are going to be pushing. In fact, my sermon this Sunday, we're going to begin organizing men around, putting men on every poll during November for just that purpose.
Yes.
We don't believe that it is short-sighted to believe that Donald Trump and his people are going to pull out every stop to disrupt. We've been doing it since 2008.
Yes.
I think we were slack in 2016.
Yes.
But we're going to make sure that no one is intimidated. We're going to make sure that no one is frustrated. We've got to, protect the vote. We need lawyers, making sure that we have all of our poll places, making sure everybody can vote. But we also need brothers and sisters who are willing to give that day to just be on the polls, not representing the Democrats or the Republicans, but representing black people, saying at this poll, there'll be no foolishness.
Yes, yes. I think people are already sick of us talking about the election, but I'm going to keep talking about it. Let me tell you why.
We have to.
1 o'clock this morning, we've been seeing people being found hung in different parts of the country. Now we have someone from Philadelphia who came to visit his aunt and was found hung in Philly. His niece was on social media asking people to really pay attention to what's going on, and they're telling her that he's the second person that was found hung there. We're not discussing these things, but I want folks to know, and somewhere around the 3 o'clock hour, I'm going to have an in-depth conversation about these hate groups, because I don't want people to rest on their laurels and think that we are safe, that those folks have been. When I go to the gun range, Pastor Waller, and yes, I had to get there because this is getting to the place where I have to learn, right? And you see them walking in there, white men with all sorts of automatic rifles, and the conversations that they're having is frightening. Right? They want their country back. We are going to, they're saying things like the president better not lose the election, otherwise they're taking back their country, like all sorts of things. And I want us to realize that this election is not only important, it is life-altering in ways that we have to pay attention beyond the election, before the election gets here and after the election happens, right?
That's right. And extremely after the election, because we have to reconstitute the government.
Yes.
And so people need to realize, and that's why Malcolm Kenyatta and persons like him of that age group are so important, because not only do we have to win the election, but Joe Biden is going to need people to help him govern.
Yes.
And that means at every place, not only do we need to win the presidency, but the Senate and the Congress.
Yes.
And we need to have judges ready for him to appoint.
Yes,
and
governors.
People ready, and governors and people ready to work with those judges, people in every position. So this is critical. There should not be a week that goes by between now and November that a major conversation about election is not happening.
Agreed. And I'm all over it, but I am concentrating on the young people, 18 to 35, for a specific reason.
Right.
They are quickly becoming the largest voting bloc that we'll ever have, right? They're outnumbering us in large ways. And what I am stymied about is the fact that people my age, me and you, are saying things like, they're erratic, we can't count on them, but we need to bring them into the fold. We cannot keep ignoring them as if they don't exist, which means we now have to listen to what is going on in their minds. Right? Why are they so frustrated with the process, with the system? And how can we change things tangibly so that we can get them to the voting booth?
Well, I think we have to remind ourselves that back in the 60s, when Wilson Goode and Hardy Williams and all of them took over the Democratic Party, they made some promises that if we vote, things would change. And the reality is things changed for some, and things didn't change for all.
Right.
And so there are some people who don't believe that it makes a difference. And so we're going to have to show them how it does make a difference. And we have to show them more of the government, teaching people what different political officials can and cannot do. One of the things that we suffer from is we are very much a tribal people,
Yes.
and we believe in the leader, but we forget that the leader needs an accompanying staff. So we will show up and we will vote when it's time for the president, the governor, or the mayor. But in order for any of them to get anything done, they need council persons, they need Senate, they need Congress. And the average political issue that you run into on your daily life is not something that you can run to the top person to address. But there's someone on his staff or her staff, or there's another elected position that is important. And so we've got to revive our understanding of governance and not just our appreciation for the top seat. And
Which is the presidency.
Which is the presidency. We got to get that. But if we put Joe Biden in there and the Senate doesn't change, it'll be gridlock.
Yep.
If we put him in there and we don't take back over, and here in Pennsylvania, if we don't figure out someone that we can run that gets rid of Pat Toomey, if we don't start lining up more judges so that our president has some good prospects. You know that the evangelicals gave Donald Trump a list of judges that when he walked into office, his work was done for him in terms of who he's going to appoint.
Yep.
And that was the deal they made. We will support you. You put our judges in. And we have to think in terms of that. And so right now, while we have a bright star like Malcolm Kenyatta, we've got to make sure that we protect him.
Yes.
And that as he is rising up, we don't let anything happen to him before he can get to seniority, before he can move into position. When you look down in South Carolina at a Clyburn, who is the third in power in the Congress, but he's in his 70s. You know, so even when you look back to what happened with Shaka Fatah, you need to understand, or go back even before that with Pastor Gray.
Yes.
These were men who were quickly becoming the most powerful black men in position, and then something happened.
Right. We left them wide open.
Right. And we've got to protect them and love them and show support for them and cover them. So I think if we begin to teach political science again and teach the importance of the whole thing, then we can help young people see that it really does matter.
Right.
We have to accept the fact that the push didn't end with the civil rights generation.
Yes.
It pushed the ball up the field, but they didn't score a touchdown. And so, you know, we're in the red zone now, and we're going to score the touchdown. We just have to get everybody involved.
Yes, yes. I love talking to you. You make so much sense for me, and it's refreshing, right? Because you're ideologically you are making sense in a way that people understand. While it is important to vote for the president does not have a chance in hell if we don't change over the Senate seats, right? If we don't make sure that at the local level we have mayors and governors and city council people and school board members that are governing in a way that will give us what we need to have, not just for some but for all, right? That we get people to understand the census and why it is so important for us to fill it out. Another thing I'm going to talk about until I'm blue in the face, right? Because we're losing. Someone told me last week, Mal, that it was $27,000 per person that you lose that if you don't fill out the census, right? So that's a lot of money. And, you know, how to get people to move from the stages of apathy, of it's not working for me anyway, to the point where they're taking back their own lives, right? By doing certain things. What does, and I'm, go ahead, Pastor Bob.
It's $11 billion over the next 10 years that we will lose if we don't do any better than we did in the 2010 census. Wow. $11 billion. And the implication not only of the money, but of representation.
Yes.
When you think about who represents you and how many people there are, there's a strong argument that if we got 100% of census, it could make the argument that we need another congressman from this area. And if we had another congressman from this area, it would arguably be someone of color.
Yes.
And so our representation is important for dollars, but our representation is also important for how many people represent us.
Right.
Another example of the school board.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fair funding formula in the state of Pennsylvania. It has been passed, but it's only been passed for new money, which means that all the money coming down is only 7% of it is going through the fair funding formula.
Mm-hmm.
If we had the political will at the state level to apply the fair funding formula to all of the money, $800 million, without raising anybody else's taxes, without changing anything, $800 million would come to Philadelphia Public Schools.
Ooh, hold on one second, Pastor Waller, because they're saying over here you're preaching and teaching and leading. Let me take a quick break, and you and I can come back. Can you hold on 1 second for me, please?
All right.
All right. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WordRadio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is a number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Word Radio Digital Tip of the Week with Stephanie Humphrey.
I'm your Tech Life expert, Stephanie Humphrey, and this is your Word Digital Tip of the Week. Did you know that as long as you have a cell phone that still works, you can call 911? Even if you don't have a phone plan for that particular smartphone, if you can turn the phone on and charge the battery, you can dial 911. However, there are some limitations. Since you don't have a service plan on the cell phone, the 911 operator won't be able to call you back if they need to. Also, depending on how old the phone is, it might not have the updated GPS technology that emergency responders would need to determine your location. But if you have an old phone laying around the house anyway, it's not a bad idea to keep it charged just in case of an emergency. Having another way to call 911 as a backup could come in handy because you never know when you might need it. Stay tuned to WURD for more tech tips and stay connected with us at wordradio.com.
The Word Digital Tip of the Week is brought to you by Comcast NBC Universal.
Are you hungry today? Have your taste buds been sufficiently pampered? Call Eatable Delights for succulent and juicy turkey wings, no-filler crab cakes, or tender smoky beef ribs. You can pick up curbside or get delivery in Philadelphia, Montgomery, South Jersey, Delaware, and Bucks County. Call 215-236-3900 or stop by 1540 Wadsworth Avenue. That's 215-236-3900 because even your taste buds deserve pampering. And tell them Solomon Jones sent you.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy.
When the coronavirus is over, what will you have to show for it? A cleaner home, yoga lessons you took online, old pictures of family members, a body a little bigger and heavier, too many refrigerated trips, eating too much, sad memories of family and friends who died or new babies born, talking on Zoom or other platforms with friends and clients or my new job. Learn to stop rushing here and there. Just start talking and playing with your folks. Maybe you got pregnant physically or pregnant with new ideas. May God bless you with peace for great living. Coronavirus is almost over. Folks, what will you have to show for it?
Okay, you were listening to... Welcome back to The Source. Mike is, listen, if you hear my open mic and all sorts of other things, poor Mike is getting himself together. I was telling him he has to come back with you are listening to The Source. He just brought me right back. Thank God I know what I'm doing over here because it's all right, Mike. Don't worry. Pastor Waller is who we're talking to. Do you have Pastor Waller back on, Mike? Pastor Waller, you there?
I'm here.
Okay. I have a new producer, so, I'm practicing grace and mercy. He's going to be all right. So you were talking about the $800 million from the new funding source that would come.
Formula.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, fair funding formula is an approach that is a student-weighted approach to how much money per student a school district would get.
Mm-hmm.
And previously, we did not have a formula. We then did get a formula. However, it only applied to new money coming to education,
right?
Which means about 7% of the education funding is run through that formula.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we would run all the money through the formula suggests that Philadelphia Public Schools should get $800 million more dollars.
Right.
Now, that does mean that Montgomery would lose.
Right.
It does mean that some areas around Pittsburgh would lose.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be fair fair that the money spread about would inform education. But that requires political will. And in order to get political will, we got to get people who have our will in place.
Yes.
So I think that's the stuff that we have to keep before people.
Yes.
And also recognize that it does take time, and it takes more than winning elections. Winning is important.
Yes.
But it takes governing afterwards. And so I would encourage everyone, let's get out there and let's get this win.
Yes.
And, you know, I like to say I'm voting for Biden. Biden.
I got it.
Biden.
Okay, bye, Don.
Biden.
Lord, you are hilarious.
Biden.
You're voting for Biden. Since I have you on the line, and we're talking about the elections, were you just as flummoxed as I was about the reaction to Kamala Harris?
Well, that's interesting. Some of the reaction, I think we have to challenge our own internal oppression.
Yes.
She's one of us. I mean, while granted her mother was Indian, her father was Jamaican. It's an interesting conversation as to whether we can accurately call her African American. She's black.
Thank you.
She's black. She's not African American. She's black. And this might be the opportunity for us to teach people how to understand who we are.
Yes.
Because it's not fair to say she's African American. She is black. And that's important. But she's from Howard.
Yes.
And people know her.
Yes.
And sometimes familiarity breeds contempt.
Yes.
And we have to challenge ourselves to remember that's our sister.
Yes.
She's paid price. She's got a history just like anybody else has a history. But she now is the choice, and that conversation needs to be over.
Yes.
She's the choice, and we're diving in.
Yes.
And the familiarity that we know because she's an AKA, or the familiarity that we know because she's a Kappa sweetheart, the familiarity that we know cannot come into this conversation. Yes. She is potentially the next vice president
of the United States.
President of the United States.
Yes.
And she deserves, we had the conversation. She's married to a white man. And as a black man, I would have preferred not to see that. But that's a done conversation.
There you go. It's already happened.
And the conversation, she is who she is, and she is in position. She's well qualified to do it. And, the time for that conversation was had, and it's over.
There you go.
And now we got to win.
There you go. There you go. Let's not continue to be distracted by the things that will mean nothing to us. Thank you so much, Pastor Wall. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Is there a food drive, anything going on that we need to know about?
The same stuff.
He said the same stuff. Okay.
Same stuff. We got food coming out, and we are going to do the book bag drive, even though the children are going virtually.
Okay.
We've always had a book bag drive to give them the materials that they need for school.
Yes.
And that will be in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And it's not different than lots of churches are doing.
Right.
And we're going to stay on the wall on that. So we encourage people, if you want fruit and produce tomorrow between 10 and 12, come on out to the tab and you can get it. Any other day, you can come and get non-perishable food items that will be available to you.
Yes.
And now we've got to think about, and pray for these parents who have to juggle more balls than they have hands because they're not going back to school. I mean, it's the right decision not to go back. But for working parents, they're in a tizzy. And we're going to have to think through how we support them, pray for them, and pray for our children that they get the proper education. Because for you and I to miss the year 2020 in whatever it impacts us, that's one thing. But for a 13-year-old to miss a year of education, or for an 8 or 7-year-old to miss those developmental years, they might not get that back.
Agreed.
And it puts them permanently behind. And so we're going to have to ask the Lord to cover us in this and make up the difference. And when we can get back, we believe he's a God who restores the years that the locusts have eaten.
That's right.
And so we're going to have to work with God to see that happens in the lives of these children, because at the end of the day, what some of these school systems have also proven that they care more about athletics than education.
Yes. Yes.
So here you got schools that are going to still let the boys play football, even though they're not going to school.
Yep. This country is telling on itself in ways we can't even begin to imagine. Reverend Dr. Alan E. Wallace, Senior Pastor of the Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church in Philadelphia, thank you so much, as always. And let me just say before you get off the line, I appreciate your being willing to talk to me every single week, because these are important topics that we have to continue to cover, okay?
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a good
All
one.
right.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, is that Maurice? Put him on for me, please. Maurice, darling, how are you?
Yes, I'm here.
How are you?
Fine. I'm glad that he got on, Pastor Wilder got on, because I was going to speak on something, and then it goes towards my point. And matter of fact, it would bring clarification to my point. So I'd like to make a couple of points. And then you had made reference to equity education, and I think that needs to be defined. One of the things, first thing I want to say is, if we don't understand where we're moving to or how this is moving, allude to Pastor Wallow, he said, reconstructing the government. Black America is in a third reconstruction era. It's taking place. If we don't understand the first 12 years from 1865 to 1877, we don't understand from 1954 to 1968, we don't understand the time that we're in now through the third reconstruction era. And it's taking place around policies. There's going to be a major shift in America. Doesn't matter who wins. It's going to be a major shift in policies and reconstruction government. That's the third reconstruction era. Now, when you brought up equity education, I haven't heard no one define that yet. Equity education determines your high quality of education. Your high quality education determines your long life income you're going to bring in. Your long life income determines where you're going to live. Where you're going to live determines what schools your kids go to. What schools your kids go to determine their high quality education, and so forth, so forth. So become generation wealth. Now, when you spoke about equity education is a tool they use supposed to close the racial wealth gap. So without the equity education, we'll never be able to close the wealth gap. And that's why we're in the condition that we're in.
And let me
don't understand these terms.
And let me go even further for you, Maurice. We can work hard, get our college degrees, and go and move and live in places where there's better education. But if we don't step in the gap and pay attention to what's happening to our children, they will still be left behind, right? So equity in education means we have to continually push the status quo, because when we put them into the schools, I've had to arguably teach people and school people who said to me, well, if you take away the income and the big houses that the black parents are living in, the black children are still behind, which means they're not as smart. These are quote-unquote educated people, white people who in places of position, who are making these erroneous comments, right? By the time I got finished with her, she hasn't spoken to me since. That was in 2002. Right? But I was like, you cannot sit in that kind of a space and make that kind of a unilateral statement, because it is damaging to the children that are coming up, and you have no idea what you're talking about. She never once considered that there were teachers who were blocking children from getting into these classes and holding them back. Right? So just getting the college degree and buying the $400,000 house and living in a better community and living in a better school district is not enough. We have to constantly keep our eye on our children and what is going on with them, and the messaging that is being given to them, even in the schools, are some of the best in the world. We've had it with Central, all the schools, right? We're having this conversation now where children are struggling and suffering with educators who don't believe they belong into their system, right, into these nicer schools, and that they're not smart enough. So we have to really dig. When I say educational equity, I mean that thing, right? It's from the rooter to the tutor. So let's see how we go from here. But you made some really valid points, Maurice, and I fully appreciate you. One more, honey.
I want to make one more point.
I got a minute, though, okay?
I'll be less than a minute.
Okay.
Kamala Harris is an African American by the language of definition. Black people in America, we're not African American. We descended of the enslaved. We didn't come through here to naturalization. We Africans in America, but not African American. We are governed by the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment and the 3 Civil Rights Bills. That's what governed the descendant of the enslaved people here in America. She's governed by a total different system, and that need to be clear. Okay. It doesn't matter who say it. We need to get the definition straight of who are the descendants of slaves here in America,
right,
and what govern us by the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment, the 29th Amendment, and the Civil Rights Bills.
Got you.
So we have these two different systems here in America, even as black people.
I agree. I agree. Thank you so much, Maurice. You have a good one. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. Let me tell you, Maurice got me. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is a number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Start your day with Daybreak. Hosted by Helana. Weekdays 6 a.m. till 7 a.m. Exclusively on Word Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live at wordradio.com and on the Word Radio app.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's Substance Use Disorder Hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP. Recovery starts with a call.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
These are the sounds of a dinner that almost didn't happen. A dinner now served thanks to people like you. Due to COVID-19, 17 million more Americans may face hunger. Feeding America is helping our neighbors in need. And if you're able, you can too. Donations are being accepted at feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Independent Black Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on Word Radio. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the Word Radio app.
Fighting against the
Welcome back to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. Right now we have two young people, Shayla Street and Samaya Smalley. Shayla is a rising senior at Central High School and is co-captain of her school's voter registration team. She's a two-time awardee of the Governor's Civic Engagement Award, helping to register 90 to 95% of her school's students do vote by working to increase the young voter turnout. Wow, wait a minute. Let me do that again. She's a two-time awardee of the Governor's Civic Engagement Award, helping to register 90 to 95% of her school's eligible voter population. She's committed to showing the world that high school students do vote by working to increase the young voter turnout rate. This summer, she has been working to make her goal a reality as a Vote That John digital media intern and My School Votes ambassador fellow. Hi, Shayla. Samaya, I don't have a thing for you, honey. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi. So I'm also part of our school's voter registration team. I'm a rising senior at Central, and like Shayla with the team, I was also a recipient of the Governor's Civic Engagement Award, and I run track. I'm in chorale, and I'm also working as an intern for Vote That John and an student ambassador for When We All Vote in My School Vote. So,
yeah. So tell me why we're talking today. Both of you.
Sorry. I was just going to say, we came out here to talk about the drives that we've been doing, partnering with Philly Youth Vote, When We All Vote, and Vote That John, three local Philly organizations. And we've been going around the city for the past month or so, registering people to vote.
Oh, wow. Who was that? Samaya's?
Yeah.
Okay. Shayla, what do you have to say, honey?
Yes, so we've been working over the summer with the pandemic happening. We've been used to registering people in our school, but we have to take it a step farther and figure out how we can get them registered for the primary after everything went virtual. So when we all vote, they reached out to us and they started working with us and trying to help us. And so we started doing DM outreach, and that's what we've been doing now, on the virtual side of things, DMing students a message, and then now we can do it you can register to vote on your phone. So we've been really taking advantage of that because a lot of kids our age, that's the easiest way. Nobody wants to do the mail anymore.
Right.
The way we were doing it in schools, we were using tablets, but now the tablets, they're not really. I mean, we use them at the voter registration drive for community people who walk by, but what we've been really doing is trying to use social media to get people engaged, involved, and registered.
Okay. How did you get involved in all of this?
Well, for me, I literally just got involved because I walked into a classroom trying to find community service hours, and I was like, voter registration, that seems cool. And I grew up I was raised in a political family, so I was like, voter registration seems right up my alley. And then it turned into so much more because as I started having conversations with people, I started realizing that a lot of people didn't understand the importance of voting. And in their families, they were taught the opposite. That, don't get involved with the system and voting is not going to change anything. So then I started becoming passionate about trying to change people's minds about that and show them what I was taught and what I've seen and how I've seen voting change individuals' lives and even communities.
Right. Wow. How proud are the two of you of what you've accomplished, though? I am having a conversation tomorrow with young people who are saying that they're just not going to vote. They don't want to do the Biden-Harris ticket, and I really want to hear them out. What do you say to those young people who just don't want to do it?
Yeah. For me, something I always say is I just feel like people who think voting doesn't matter, doesn't do anything, if it didn't matter, people wouldn't try so hard to suppress our voting rights because you see they're going to communities, picking up mailboxes and stuff like that. And in 2016, I believe it was 45% of people didn't vote, and that's why we're in the situation we're in now. But, I'm trying to be nonpartisan, but it's just...
Yes.
I feel
How old are the two of you? You're talking nonpartisan. How old are the two of you?
I'm 17.
17.
I'm
And how
17 too.
so who taught you about nonpartisan? Because nonpartisan is you're not telling people how to vote one way or the other. You just want them to go vote, right?
Right.
Right.
Well, our organizations are nonpartisan, but like we're not nonpartisan people. So it's like if we're speaking on behalf of our organization, we can't really say, But what I would say to those people is, please do not complain about anything going on if you do not vote. No one wants to hear anyone complain about things that are going on if you don't participate in the election. And don't complain about the result of the election if you're not participating. Because a lot of the same people who are on social media complaining about things that are directly related to voting are the same people who don't want to participate in it, or they say it doesn't work, or whatever whatever their excuse is. And so we try to do that too, Samaya and I, at these drives. Like we will connect direct issues. Ask people, what do you care about? Oh, you care about defending the police? Well, your mayor can put put our money, our tax dollars into the schools or the precinct.
Come on. Yes, young people. Do you both go to Central?
Yes.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. Wow. How did you get involved in all of this? What spurred you into getting involved?
Well, for me, kind of like what Shayla said, it really was a whim, something on a whim, because I'm a rising senior now, but in sophomore year, I remember I was in homeroom, and Shayla told me about how she found out about this thing we had in school, the voter registration team, and she was going to, like, the first meeting, and she just asked me if I wanted to go, too, and I was like, why not? And so I go, and they're talking about everything, and I didn't realize that so many of my peers or people in my school or in my age group weren't planning on voting, and that, like, wasn't a thing for them. And I was really taken aback, and I thought it was interesting, so I joined that. And, a year later, I joined Vote That Joint internship and When We All Vote and all that stuff.
Yeah. Wow. I'm so proud of you. What are your parents saying to the two of you for what you've been able to accomplish?
I definitely say my parents are encouraging. Like, I wouldn't be able to do it without them driving me all over the city to these voter registration drives. And, they're just encouraging, I would say.
Yeah. Wow. I'm so proud of you. I'm so sorry if I seem distracted. I'm trying to get back I've lost my Facebook feed from my phone, and I do believe it's because of a song that we played earlier, and I can't see it on Facebook anymore, and I'm getting texts from people that they can't see me or hear me on Facebook. So I'm just trying to figure out how we work around that, because we also want them to hear you guys talking to us to make sure that they can hear you from what's going on here, because what you have to say is very important, and nothing to me is more important than young people. Who was the other one? Are your parents taking you around all over the place too?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing as Shayla. Like, if he didn't support me, my dad and my mom too, I wouldn't be able to do this, because he's driving me from North Philly to West Philly.
Wow.
And he always listens to me. I come to him with so many stories about people I talk to and some of the things they might have said and all types of stuff, and he always just listens. So.
Yeah. What kind of questions do you ask your father about the voting process, or your parents?
Yeah. For me, I just really love having conversations with my dad and my parents about any type of political thing. I'm happy I'm able to have those conversations with him. And usually I ask him questions about his opinion on certain things, because I love to, like, debate with him on stuff. And a lot of the times we disagree, so it's fun to, like, ask him how he feels about this new thing that just happened,
Let me ask you this. Do you think either one of you will go into political office? Hello?
Oh, is that for
either one of you? Do you think either one of you would run for political office at some point?
I mean, I think I'm just going to go with the flow, and if that's in the flow, then I'm not going to turn it down.
Okay.
I definitely think it's, like, a great job, a great opportunity to make change and, like, do the things that we all talk about, and also, like, understand politicians more, because I think a lot of people think, oh, that's the other problem with voting. People think it's like it makes direct change, but it's like, no, you're putting somebody in office who's there to fight for what you want. And they can't just, it's not a dictatorship when you elect anyone. Like, they have to work with others. So I think I think it's a great job.
Yes.
And it's important for people to recognize that it's not like, you know, you have some power, but it's with limits. And
Yes.
you have to work with.
Yes. So I'm just going to take professional liberties with the both of you. If you ever decided to run for office, where would you run for office? Have you thought about it at all?
Yeah, actually, someone asked us this question before, I believe, and what I told him is I would probably run for city commissioner to start off because I was listening to someone talk about how it's one of the youngest age requirements that you can have, and I've listened to him talk about also how if we have younger people in working within our government, that's going to be another thing to encourage young people to vote.
Yes.
And I think it's important to start off small so you can work your way up and really see how the system works and be able to impact your community more directly. But that's just what I would do.
What does a city commissioner do?
Well, from what I understand, or Shayla, do you want to?
Well, I mean, I think they're the ones who. I was just on a call with one of them yesterday. I think what they said their job is to conduct elections, and so they try to make sure elections are safe and fair. All the things that are super important right now. We have people at the highest office who are trying to do the opposite. So their job is to combat that and make sure everyone's voice and vote is heard in each election without difficulty.
Right, yes. The city commissioner's role is incredibly important, right? We want to have city commissioners that we make sure that they're on the money when it comes to voting, making sure that the ballots go out, making sure that people know where their voting stations are across the city, make them understand how important the voting process is and that it is fair, right, across the board. And so these positions, your young people, excuse me, the youngest school board member that I know of in Pennsylvania is a young man by the name of Emmanuel Wilkerson. He's 23 years old now. He was 18 when he got elected to the school board in Pottstown. Look him up. He's completely engaged in the process, the political process, and is at Temple University now working on finishing up his degree. And so I'm super proud of the both of you, and I'd like to have you back on so that we can talk some more. Okay? Is that all right?
Yes,
right.
we would love that. Thank
Yes.
you for having us.
I really do believe that the two of you are an important cog in the wheel so that people can understand what is going on and work themselves through the process, because when they hear your voices, then they know that it's important. Young people listen to young people, right? And you both have me convinced that this is a wonderful process to be a part of as an older, and I mean, I'm older than dirt right now, so, It was so good talking to the both of you. Is there anything else you'd like to add before you get off the phone?
Well, I just want to add that, part of it is also what we're trying to do is changing the culture around voting. And while we're trying to make sure people know it's important and it's a duty they need to do, we're also trying to make it more fun and accessible for people. And,
Right.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about some of the, information or, where people can get more information. So some stuff is to just get out there that we need more poll workers, and they're offering paid positions to the youth. So
yes. Wait a minute. Give us that information. What is that information?
Yeah. So they're taking youth poll workers, and
I can give you the website.
Yes. What's the website?
Poll workers. I think it's at Philadelphia Gov. I think
at Philadelphia.gov. Okay.
Let me make sure it's the right one.
Okay.
Because we were literally just talking to the commissioner yesterday.
Yes.
Or you can literally just reach out to them because they're the ones who are hiring people.
Can you tell them Mother said? Tell them I said this. Tell them people have been calling their office and nobody's answering their phones. So we'll do poll workers at Phila.gov. Maybe you can get them to answer the phones so we can get some stuff done because the elections are around the corner. Can you do that for Mother?
Yes.
We appreciate you.
Always.
I want you to email Brianna so that you can get back in here to talk to me, okay? Because I really am enjoying the both of you, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're quite welcome. All right. Bye-bye. All right. Bye-bye. Mariana, line 1.
Peace.
Peace, my sister. How are you?
I'm good. The revolution will not be televised.
Listen, it's being televised over here. I'm sitting here trying to figure out all these pieces. We got kicked off of Facebook, and I've got people that watch me on Facebook that can't hear me or see me right now, right? So I'm trying to figure out that piece. But what can I do for you, lady?
Let me tell you, who's ever there that's dead is supposed to be there. We doing what they're supposed to be, passing it on.
That's right.
One of the things I hear, it connected after listening to the two young sisters, because I have granddaughters, granddaughters that age. What we have to do is listen to them. Remember grandma sitting back over in that chair and they tell that child, go ahead on up there, girl. She's shy a little something. Give them your little speech and she go ahead on it. She do it. And this does something to her. The light, you see it in her. We're not doing that. And the second thing is, you got to meet the people where they at.
Come on.
Where they at. They're going to the streets now, but they're going down there in the jungle. These brothers, take your suits off and your skate, put your sneakers on, put your Nikes on, go down, put the boots on the street. If we do that, the old, the young, they'll get it. Because guess what? They don't know, but get them, they got it.
Yes.
I'm going to let them talk for me. I'm going to sit down and shut up.
Come on.
You said you going out there doing it, and you want to know what could you say to them. You got to have one of them to talk to them.
I just said it, Mariana.
But
you are absolutely right. It works.
It's easy. Matter of fact, that make you work less harder.
Yes,
All you got to do is make a phone call, daytime, boom, boom, boom. They go in there, you stay at home, sitting up in your chair, listen to the feed, or after the fact, eating some popcorn with some nutritional yeast on and olive oil, trying to figure out the next plan to put on paper. You give it to them, and they run with it.
That's
it's like
right.
A telegraph.
That's right. It's ego.
Come on,
it is
got
ego,
this
man.
Going on. You stand. I know. I stand on the ancestors' shoulders. My grandmother and my mother.
Yes.
I claim it. We all stand on it. It's already been done. They know.
Yes.
Give her a hug. Go ahead. What did Malcolm? What the most hated woman in America? What did Brother Malcolm say? Was the black woman.
Yep.
We don't get it. If we can give our sons, put your pants up, boy, and our daughters, come on, loosen it up. You ain't got to be jiggly. We already know you got that big butt. Look at Judy. Yeah, we know whose child that is from the back. We know where she comes from. But if we notice and we do that, we going to get it. We on our way, I believe.
Yes, I agree. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome, sis. Have a good one, okay?
You too.
All right, bye-bye. You are listening to The Source. I'm taking my break now because we got to reboot, and I've got Tanqueray on, and I want to make sure that everybody gets to see her. Yep. Oh, she says I can see and hear you on Facebook now. 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WordRadio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Holistic health information every weekend with Dr. Paul. Saturdays during the Holistic Hour at 9 a.m. and Sundays during the Green.
Receive health screenings and vaccines and get what they need to live a healthy childhood. Families can be covered by CHIP no matter how much money they make. If you've experienced a recent change in employment or income, CHIP may be a good option for your family. Visit chipcoverspakids.com to apply or learn more.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
JD's Auto Body and Painting is hiring talent for the following positions. Assembler, preferably 2 to 3 years experience, able to tear down and reassemble all make and model cars. Painter, must have at least 5 years overall painting experience, including experience in water-based paint and able to prep cars for paint jobs. Auto Body Technician, looking for an A or B technician, must have at least 5 years experience repairing cars. Please send your resume to JD's Auto Body and Painting at Comcast.net. That's JDS Auto Body and Painting at Comcast.net or call 215-848-5949 for more details. JD's Auto Body and Painting is an equal opportunity employer.
The Word Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting wordradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on Word Radio. Messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese. Exclusive articles and multimedia content and resources. Stay informed with the Word Radio newsletter.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on Word Radio. Streaming live on WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app.
sharper than a razor, eyes made of lasers, bold
Bring me back.
than the
Do you have her?
won't be locked up in the system, 'cause I'm on a mission. Blame it on my youth.
Okay.
Too long I've been routed on my own.
All right. Welcome back.
Rolling Stone, I ain't never been afraid to die. Look a man in the eye. I come to give you what you love.
Welcome back to The Source. I'm telling you, we're having all kinds of challenges over here, but we're going to get it together in these Wakandan streets. All right, I am back live, and I really wanted to make sure that I was live because, yes, thank you, Kendrick, because the next guest is someone that I just absolutely adore. I am going to tell you that the first time I met Tanqueray Hayward, and I'm going to let you play her song in a little bit, I was at the Arcadia University, and this tiny thing came on the stage, and she had this pregnant belly in front of her, and she sang a song that gave me such goosebumps. I can't even remember the name of the song. I cried tears. And then I posted her on Facebook, and only for Mr. Man Frisbee, and it seemed like everybody in the world knew who she was except me. I never forgot her since that day. Her baby is probably 3 or 4 or 5 years old now. But listen, a diva. A diva is a celebrated female singer, a woman of outstanding talent in the world of opera, and by extension in theater, cinema, and popular music. In Philadelphia, a city known for providing the world of music with knockout talent, and another yet unforgettable legendary diva in the making is uniquely emerging. Yes, Lord. Tanqueray Hayward is exploding on the Philadelphia music scene and is claiming her seat at the highly coveted table. Whoever wrote this, you tell them they are all that. Born in Philadelphia in 1978, music was calling Hayward's name from a very early age, and she's got a set of pipes, y'all. You got to hear this. Getting her first taste for the musical spotlight, Hayward started singing in church. After taking a leap of faith and resigning from a medical career, Hayward's vocal potency landed her the opportunity to record background vocals for pop star Pink and open for internationally acclaimed gospel artist Marvin Sapp in Philadelphia. In addition, Hayward has shared the stage with Carol Riddick, The Mighty Clouds of Joy, Cedric Napoleon, Pieces of a Dream, Mosaic Flow, Lee Williams, and the Spiritual QCs, the Joy Boys, and Sean Coco McMillan, just to name a few. Currently, Hayward is enjoying the experience of performing to sold-out crowds at renowned music venues throughout the Philadelphia. Hayward's vocal ability and stage presence are potent for all who dare to experience it without a filter. With Hayward serving in the United States Army, she learned valuable life lessons of self-discipline and an incredible work ethic, which has naturally flowed over to her rising music career. As her fan base continues to grow, and I count myself as one of them, Hayward has her eyes set on the big picture. I want to bring back music that's been missing, the music I grew up on. Good soul music, she said. I have a passion for performing, and I'm working very hard at my craft. Tanqueray Hayward's artistic impact and contribution to the musical landscape of Philadelphia is now becoming undeniable. Currently recording her highly anticipated debut album, Hayward is working tirelessly to prove herself worthy to be mentioned in the company mentioned above. One day soon, Hayward added. Well, that day is arriving real soon. That day is here. Let's hear the song. First time ever being played in the Philadelphia market.
It's Friday night, and I can't wait to get with you. I'm getting dressed so you can have the perfect view. And I must confess that I'm a mess, 'cause I know this ain't cool. I got a thing for you, and I can tell that you want me to. I can see it in your eyes, they tell the truth. So we can dance all night till we get it right. Never wanna stop until the morning light. This thing that hey, feeling your body, my body, dance all night, doing it right, doing it right. baby, give me more of the things you do. 'Cause only you make me feel the way you do when I'm dancing close to you. It's getting late. It's getting late. Can't wait for round 2 and we'll be okay. Grab my hand and go with the flow. Baby, take me to that place where I'll never say no. This thing that we're feeling. Your body. Hey, it's all night. Doing it right. Doing it right. Let's go. Feels good. You know it feels good. Real love. Never let you down. It won't let you down.
Tanqueray, are you there? Hello?
Hello?
Girl, I really like that song.
Well, thank you.
Girl! Yes, honey. Oh, listen, Mother got some time. I made sure that I had enough time to have a real good conversation with you. Oh, my goodness. Let me say that. Is this the first time you're playing it in the Philadelphia market?
Yes, ma'am.
It happened right here on WURD radio. And let me just tell you, that song is, how do I get to buy it, child? Because it's going in my rotation. It is
it's
fabulous.
Going to be on Amazon. It's going to be on iTunes. It's going to be everywhere on Friday.
On Friday. Girl, I am so proud of you. So proud of you. I would, when I said that I would put you on the show because I know you can blow. I mean, I watched you from that first time. I had no idea that the song was going to grip me that quickly. From the first, I was like, yeah. What's the title of the song?
It is called This Thing.
This Thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, are you excited?
I'm very excited. I'm very nervous too because this has been a long time coming. And when I was listening to you with the introductions, the song that I sang was "If I Could" by Regina Bell.
Yeah. Oh, can you sing a little bit of that for me, please?
Oh boy,
I love you.
If I could, I would try to steal your innocence from sight. But the part of life I gave you was in mine. I watch you grow so I can let you know.
If I could. Girl, you had Mobile thinking she could sing. After I listened to you, I was like, no, I'm just a mediocre singer. This right here is blowing. So tell us about your story, man. You are the thing.
Well, you know, so like you said, when we met, I was, carrying my daughter, and she is 4 and a half now.
Wow.
And so probably I think maybe about 6 months prior to me finding out I was having her, I left my medical job, and I was trying to pursue music full time. And then, I found out I was going to be a mom, and then I was a little nervous about it because then it's like, okay, well, I decided to quit. Now, you got this baby coming, you have to figure it out, and, But all I can say is God is good. She's almost 5, and actually, before this pandemic, I had been doing a lot more now than I was, before I left. So I think if I did not decide to take that leap of faith, I don't know where I would be right now.
Yes. So tell everybody. So I'm letting you know. I gave myself space. So you're going to be on 2 segments. You and I are going to talk because I want people to know what it is like to take that leap of faith. You could have kept that medical job, right? Because you were doing all right with it. You're a reservist in the Navy, correct?
Yes.
And so lots of times people talk about wanting to. I'm saying your name correctly, right, Tanqueray?
Tangray. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure I'm saying your name correct because I can't stand messing up people's names.
That's fine.
Lots of times, Tanqueray, people say, I want to, I have these big dreams, but I got to pay the bills. I got to do this. I got to make sure that I pay my mortgage. I got to make sure that I have the car payment. And what I've constantly tried to impress upon people is this. If the dream is sitting in your gut deeply enough, you're willing to go homeless. You're willing to lose your car. If it's something that it carries you to the point. And the people who are there always end up being completely successful, right? It's when we sit in the corner and say, well, I can't do it because of such and such and such. I remember when you took the leap, and I'm watching you. You're being managed now, right?
Not at the current moment.
Not at the current moment. So you were being managed for a little while, and so you're not being managed now. And so how did you get from the place where, when you first left the medical job, to where you are now, where you're having a debut song on Friday?
Well, of course, my intent was to have the music out way before, because now this is going on 6 years, because I left September 2014 was when I left. But again, just going through the journey of being a mom and then a single mom at that, it was just it was hard. And then it was, I kind of lost focus a little bit, and then it was more so, okay, I just got to sing to make sure I can pay the bills.
Right.
At this point. So, I wasn't even focused on music. I was just trying to figure out how me and my daughter going to survive. You know what I mean? And but then as time went on, then it was like, okay, well, I'm going through all of this, so this will make for some great music, you know? And then you have people that come and go, and even with the situation with management, and management came about because, good friend of mine, and I kind of made him do it. So, and, we're still cool to this day, and, he's helping me out even now. So, it was just more so, it was very, it's still tough, but I think that being in this situation, it taught me a lot, because prior to me leaving, I was very comfortable. I was like just traveling on a whim and just buying all kind of stuff. So I wasn't used to living tight. I wasn't used to living tight. And even though when I come to find out, we were living tight as I was a little kid, but my mom never made it look like it was tight,
There you go.
So now I know, it was more so me worried about her and my daughter and making sure she has this and she has that. And just to see the smile, she could be happy with a stapler,
Yes.
And I was more so like, oh, she needs to have this and she needs to have that, and I can't get this for her. And I was very hurt. But, it's more so that time going to the playground. And I've found, like, even with the students that I teach part-time, they even hooked me up with a lot of things. Oh, you could do this and you could do that, and you got this, you can get that. So I was able to, still be able to do a lot of things. My daughter was, being able to enjoy her life, and, me being able to enjoy being with her. And then I started getting my focus back with the music. But that even came, it's just interesting. I just feel like now it's just my time. And basically, God, you have to be patient. You cannot, like, oh, I need to do it now. You have to be patient. Because, again, people may come and go, but the people that you think might be there is not the ones for you.
Amen. And we have to be very mindful, Tanqueray, not to hang on to people who have long passed their time. You understand? Long after they've served the time that they're supposed to be with you, you don't want to hang on. And lots of times we do that, and it's to our own detriment, right? And so I'm really glad to hear that you understood that it takes time to get to the place where you are. Where did that amazing voice come from, sis?
All I can say is God.
Nobody in your family sings like this?
I've been singing since early as I can remember, 5 years old in the church, and I wanted to be Whitney Houston, and that was like my dream. And even as a young child, and I'm noticing now even with my daughter, because she sings a lot, just random. I just, would just sing, and then I would just be out in the street and singing in front of people. I was not a shy kid at all. And I used to bring the neighborhood kids together, and I would choreograph some dances, and we would put on a show for the block party. So, but I just, there was no thought of like, maybe she needs to go into a music program or anything like that. It just wasn't there at that time.
Right.
And so I ran track at Overbrook High School and kind of just.
Is that where you met Mr. Manfrisby?
That's where I met Mr. Yes, I met him. Yep. And I was in the 9th grade. He was in the 12th grade, and we've been friends ever since. And, but, church was always still that foundation. So, I sang there. So a lot of people knew me from just, singing in church and in the choir and all. And, you then you have people in your ear, you know, go to college, you know, get a career, you know. So I kind of left I wasn't even thinking about music at that time, you know. So I was just focused on trying to get a career. So I got the career in medicine, and then I joined the military because my grandmother, she wanted me to have some stability.
Yes.
And so I joined the reserves. And then as I was, you know, I was working in the hospital. I was working at Pennsylvania Hospital, and then Mr. started having a jam session.
Yes.
That's what kind of got things started again. And then I started performing, and then I would meet people, and then they were, oh, can you come here? Can you come here? And then that's really how that got started. And then I started working with a band called Mosaic Flow.
Yes.
And I would just go out, sing like 2 or 3 songs, and then I met a bass player named Cedric Napoleon, and then it kind of just took off from there, and ended up having my first weekend at Warm Daddies. And it's almost like, you know, people can, like, hook you up with the interview, but you still have to nail the interview.
Come on. Yes.
You know? So even though, you know, I was brought in, I still had to do my thing. And so, you know, when the management from Warm Daddy said, you know, you could do your own show. Forget this 2-song thing. You could do a whole weekend. I was nervous. And I'll never forget it. You know, it was just a wonderful weekend. A lot of people came out, and I've just been going ever since. But again, you know, again, I was just thinking about the mom aspect and just trying to survive because, you know, we don't make a lot, you know, doing these events and, you know, so yeah. So,
but Tanqueray, you're about to blow up. And you're about to blow up in a good way, right? You were patient. You bided your time. You went through your process. You're still going through your process, right? If I can give you a solid bit of advice, I had the similar instance with my own 2 children. And, you know, you and I have talked about this briefly. And now that they're 28 and 24, I asked them, I think maybe about 4 years ago, I said, did you feel like you missed anything when you were growing up? They were like, no, you were there with us for bedtime, da-da-da-da-da. I opted to make sure that I was taking care of them. And then when they got a little bit older, I was able to start soaring and doing what I would do, right? And I, too, felt like I was missing things with them. They said it was the best thing for them. They really enjoyed their childhood, and they didn't feel like they were missing anything. And as they went off to college and become adults, my youngest son called me the other day and was talking about one of his friends' moms who's just like not there for him at all. Right? And so, you know, what you're doing right now, what you're putting into your baby is really what she's going to cherish as she gets older. Mark my words. Okay?
Yeah.
It's not we are the ones that get caught up in ourselves and like, oh my gosh, I want my child to have what every other child is having. But what every child needs is love. That's it.
Right.
Right? Everything else is negotiable.
I'm telling you, I'm learning from her. I learned a lot from her in the 4 years she's been around. So, yeah. So then that's when I realized, you know what, you're doing all right, you know. And she's singing the song. She sings the song.
She sings the song. Oh.
I made a little video actually yesterday and posted it. So.
Oh. She is.
But I remember when we were at the breast cancer event, and I saw you there, and you had your book, and I remember there was one quote that you said, and that really stuck with me, and it was like, in order to truly live, you got to take risks, and that's a necessity. And so, like, I don't have any regrets, even though people told me, well, you know, you need to go back to work because you got this baby, and you need to be doing this and da-da-da-da-da. But then I have people that, you know, just on a whim, they'll text me and, here's a Cash App. Here's something for you. Here's something for the baby.
Yes.
You know? And the way I see it, I know God's in it because I'm still going.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm so proud of you.
I have gas in my tank, and
Come on, girl. And you got a set of pipes that's going to take you to the moon. To the moon. Hold on 1 second. Let me take a quick break, and then we'll be right back, okay? Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WordRadio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we'll be right back after these messages.
RG Electrical Inspections provides electrical inspections for realtors, licensed electricians, and homeowners. RG is a certified plans examiner and licensed underwriter providing assistance for PICO outages. RG is also listed on PICO's website. RG Electrical Inspections is a licensed and insured underwriter serving Philadelphia and surrounding areas. Call if you have plans to review today, 267-902-1655.
Fridays, it's right here on Word Radio. At 6 a.m., start your day with Daybreak, hosted by Helana. At 7, it's time to wake up with Word, with host Solomon Jones. Then at 10, it's a special edition of The Source with Tiffany Bacon, followed by Groundings at 1 p.m., hosted by Brothers Shamari. At 4 p.m., it's Laborers Live, hosted by Lessit. Then at 5, it's Solutions on Word. At 7 p.m., it's the Envy McKee Show. Then at 10, it's Freedom Sounds of Jazz, followed up by Messages in the Music, hosted by Joey Temple. Fridays are something special on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live at wordradio.com and on the Word Radio app.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on Word Radio. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the Word Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you are just joining me, I am on the line with one of the best singers I know in Philadelphia, Tanqueray Hayward, who I met 4.5 years ago when she was 5, because she was pregnant with her baby at that point. And her voice just simply blew me away. Met her through Mr. Man Frisbee. I think we all have a lot in common with Mr. Man Frisbee. She is now releasing her first single. Lord, I am so excited. I don't know. Tell us what the name of the single is again.
It is entitled This Thing.
This Thing. And it's going to be on iTunes?
iTunes.
What time on Friday will it be released?
I believe midnight.
So it will be August 21st midnight. August 20th midnight.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. You know I'm going to be one of the first people to get it. It is really good. It is really good. I wish you so much joy. What advice do you have for people, Tanqueray, who want to become a singer but just feel like it's too much or feel discouraged by their family members because, it's not paying the bills right now?
Just to keep going, keep going, record, and just like I'll tell some people, go out to the open mics, go out, be seen, meet people, network. Yes. I'm thankful for even the guys that I play with, the band that I'm with. I mean, these are like world-class musicians that, I typically am with, and I was just thankful to be with them. And so it's great when you can, the networking, that's so important, and just getting out there, because you don't know until you get out there.
Yes.
And just, promote yourself, even if you don't have a real fancy camera, put videos out. You just never know who's watching you,
And you created quite a brand of your own, honey. That blonde hair set it off. Do you still have blonde hair?
No. I have a post-quarantine hair now.
I understand.
I'm back.
I hear you, man. Thank you.
But I love your blonde, so I saw it. Yeah.
Listen, Tanqueray, this is not gonna last forever, okay? I'm a 50-something-year-old woman. I'm trying to get myself together. This is just to make my husband happy. I hope he's happy.
Yes, it looks great. It looks great.
Moving right along. I just walked into the studio and there were 2 black men sitting out there, and they were like, "Oh my God, you're like the natural sister. We love you." I love black men. Lord, I love you all to pieces. Jesus wept how much I love the black men in these streets. Anyway, so, thank you so much, honey. The first day I heard you, Tanqueray, I knew you were headed somewhere. I knew. You are paying your dues. You have that baby. You're doing what you need to do as a single mom with her. And you are now releasing your first single, This Thing, at midnight, Friday morning.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be crying on Friday. Everybody's just so excited for me. So I've been playing little snippets of it, and so I'm just so excited that everybody else is excited.
Because it's a good song, honey. It's a good song. It's a good song.
About love. You could 2-step to it.
Yes, honey.
Get your groove on,
Yes.
So I'm excited. I'm
I
happy.
pray that when you wake up on Friday morning at 8 o'clock, that you would have made $1 zillion for your troubles.
Thank you.
Okay.
And shout out to T.L. Scheider. He is the producer. And let me tell you, Andrea, I met him last year. And, he was in my inbox. I would love to work with you. And we kind of lost ways. But during this pandemic, he reached back out. And so he sent me so many songs. So the whole album should be out in October. So I'm excited.
Oh, wow. You got a whole album? You better go ahead, honey.
We working. We working.
Yeah.
We are working. He's been such a blessing.
Yeah, you tell him I said thank you, because you more of us needed to hear you, not just in Philly. And at some point down the road, Grammy. right? I can see it coming, and we can say she is Philly's own. Like we say Jilly from Philly, we're going to say Tanky from Philly, right? Miss Haywood from Philly, yeah. So congratulations again, honey. I am so glad this was the first place that it was debuted in Philadelphia. I'm so, so proud of you.
Yes. Oh, and thank you for having me.
Oh, bye-bye, honey. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Oh, that was so good, y'all. That was so good. T.L. Snyder. Well, thank you, legendary producer T.L. Snyder, for hanging in there with my girl because, oh, my husband says I am happy. Oh, wait a minute. My husband just sent me something. He says, facing mounting backlash, President Donald Trump's embattled Postmaster General Louis DeJoy announced Tuesday that recently implemented service changing causing mail delays will be suspended until after the 2020 presidential elections. Well, that'll remain to be seen if he keeps it, you know. It was important to me, if you all are hearing me, that I really highlight the goodness that's going on in this city. We talk a lot about the things that aren't working. We complain, we moan, we groan, we fuss at our elected officials, but there's so much beauty and goodness and light happening right here in this city and the state of Pennsylvania. And so it gives me great joy. I get goose pimples just thinking about people like Tanqueray Hayward, who is just, wait until, if you've never had the pleasure of hearing her sing live, girl, blows your eardrums out. She's so, so good, so, so good. I wanted to, I know we're getting ready to go to break in a little bit, but I wanted to share something with you. I've dropped 35 pounds. 35 pounds. I decided that, told me I was diabetic. I was like, I'm not taking that medication. So I've been riding my bicycle, and today I rode a little bit shy of 27 miles in under 2 hours. But the byproduct of that is that I dropped a ton of weight. And so nothing in my closet fits me. Even the smallest thing that I have in my closet is too big, right? So a friend of mine, and I'm telling you this story for a reason, a friend of mine sent me an article, an ad from Dianu, which is the African-inspired clothing that has a store right here in Norristown, and that they were having a sidewalk sale on this Saturday, right, where all of their showpieces that they never sold will be on sale for little and nothing. And I have to make a run out of town on Friday, so I can't be at the sidewalk sale on Saturday. And I'm still in a quandary because I don't have any clothes, and Renee Bolden, who would make all my stuff, she's like, no, I'm not making anything right now. So I on a whim, drove up there yesterday afternoon and went up into the where they are. Guy comes out and he says, ma'am, because of COVID, we're really not showing anybody anything, but I'll get one of the owners out here to talk to you. And I said, that's fine. Guy comes out, young gentleman in his 30s, and he says, well, we were going to put everything out on the sidewalk because of COVID, but since you and your friend are here, I'll just let you go through and pick something. 15 pieces later, I am wearing one of their pieces today. It is nice to be able to put on something that actually fits me, and it's a real sale, y'all. $20, $30, so many others, good stuff. But I wanted to tell you, as I'm sitting there talking to him right here, his sister started the business in 2013. He was doing something else in another state, and she called him and said, brother, they're from Nigeria, we really need to figure out a way to do this because we want African-inspired clothing that is modernized, right? That will use the fabric and modernize it to today's taste and time. And from 2013 to now, Ianu means miracle, and the D means off the. So it's off the miracle. They have taken every bit of what they're making, a lot of what they're making, and they sent it back to Nigeria to build wells into schools. And they give every quarter to some STEM initiative right here in America. And so for me, it was so delightful. It was, and I'm going to interview him because I'm going to interview him, right? Him and his sister. I said, I'd like to talk to both you and your sister. He was so kind and so gracious. So now I have clothes that I can actually wear because everything, even my shorts, my smallest shorts, are falling off. And I just want to let you know that when you run a business, right, people may show up There may be things going on that happens impromptu. It was an impromptu thing. He was so good to us that we ended up spending way more money than we thought we would in the spot, right? But support them. They're having their sidewalk sale on Saturday, and I'm going to get them to advertise here too, because Mobile doesn't, we got a Black Talk Media, lots of good things going on over here, and I want to make sure that all these advertisements are happening. And so, the clothing, I'm wearing one of their dresses today, and it was just, I feel so much better, because I feel like I was just trying to hold everything together and pinning up things and taking in things, and I just, it was enough. So I need you all to really support each other. I know it's really bad out here. Pastor Wallace said it, we are tribal, we get real comfortable, familiarity breeds contempt, and we think because we know you because you're black, and black people are not monolithic. We really come from all sides of the spectrum. We have all sorts of good things going on. We are to love on one another and support each other and take care of each other. Don't not support a business because it's not something that you didn't start. Yardane, people tell this story all the time, and literally, there was a video put out about Yardane Cultural Solutions. It's a herbal butter store that sells all kinds of natural herbs and stuff. And I walked in one day and saw how beautifully presented it was. I took a 1-minute video and I posted it on my Facebook page. 3.4 million hits and millions in sales later. They opened up another store in Atlanta, Georgia. I got nothing from that other than the grace of knowing that I helped a business to thrive and succeed. And I want us to do more of that. Dr. Major, talked to her on the air, and someone texted me yesterday and said, I'm in here with my mother because you talked about her. We have to highlight the good that is in our community. We really must. And stop spending so much time going, I hate this one and I hate that one. There's enough people hating us. We don't need to hate ourselves too. Okay? We really have to work and do and be better about what's going on around us. And if you can see some good in someone and highlight that good versus looking to pick out something out of their eye, then we'd all be in a better place. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WordRadio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. Oh, I have news for you, too, when I come back. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Times are changing, and you deserve a system designed to grow your business. Meet Jaxcom, the new standard in business class voice. Only Jaxcom gives you the most features per dollar. Things like visual voicemail, call monitoring, advanced call queues, virtual assistant, plus a lot more. The stuff the other guys charge you extra for or don't have. Jaxcom proudly supports Black-owned businesses. Reference WORD for 20% off any plan. Jaxcom. Visit us online at jaxcom.net. That's JAXCOM.net.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. Start saving more for retirement now, so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Get free tips to help boost your retirement savings now at aceyourretirement.org/Shiro.
A message brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Want the latest in Word swag? Check out the shop tab on WordRadio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WordRadio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk Media. Home of the Happy Hour. With Sincerely Sarita. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Streaming live at wordradio.com and on the Word Radio app.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on Word Radio. Streaming live on WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. I am looking at something that I'd like to discuss with all of you because we're having dialogue about young children and the guiding principles of Movement for Black Lives, which was written by Lalina Garcia. But I'm thinking that this would apply to some adults too, because we do a lot of talking and we watch a lot of stuff on social media, and sometimes we don't know half of what we're talking about, right? So as we think about discussing big ideas with little people, we consider age-appropriate language so that our students or children can grasp the concepts we're introducing and incorporate these ideas and language into their own thinking and conversations. While adults can obviously talk about any of the principles, and many of us already do, without mentioning the Black Lives Matter movement, we can also mention the movement as a group of people who want to make sure that everyone is treated fairly, regardless of the color of their skin. We can say something along the lines of the civil rights movement with people we know about, like Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks, worked to change the laws that were unfair. The Black Lives Matter movement is made up of people who want to make sure that everyone is treated fairly, because even though many of those laws were changed many years ago, some people are still not being treated fairly. The idea of police violence is frightening to young children, and the same way we don't discuss the violence which met civil rights activists, I would not discuss this kind of violence with our youngest children. As with each principle, I've suggested some language you might want to use when talking to young people. Whenever possible, make connections to children's lived experience in your classroom, your home, or out in the world. Restorative justice is the commitment to build a beloved and loving community that is sustainable and growing. So here's one way you can say it. We know that if you knock down someone's block building, you have to help them rebuild it. You can't just say sorry and walk away. We also know that it's important for kids to be able to make better choices another time, and it's a grown-up's job to help them make better choices and to give them chances to do that. Another way to say that is restorative justice. You see how she did that? Empathy is one's ability to connect with others by building relationships built on mutual trust and understanding. To say it with children, it is so important to think about how other people feel, because different people have different feelings. Sometimes it helps us think about how you would feel if the same thing happened to you or to your friend. Another way to say that is empathy, right? And we need to start building empathy with children, because I have too many adults who are not empathetic at all, and they're very cutthroat, and that's why we're living in the society that we are in today. Loving engagement is the commitment to practice justice, liberation, and peace. This is how you say it to children. It is so important to make sure that we're always trying to be fair and peaceful, and to engage with other people, treat other people with love. We have to keep practicing this so that we can get better and better at it. Another way to say that is loving engagement. Do we have the callers on? They're on. Okay, I need to know who the people are before you put them on. Diversity is the celebration and acknowledgement of differences and commonalities across culture. This is how you say it to children. Different people do different things and have different feelings. It's so important that we have lots of different kinds of people in our community and that everyone feels safe. Another way to say that is diversity. I'm going to go one step further with you. We have so many people talking about different cultures, and the other day someone said something on Facebook like Jamaicans don't consider themselves to be black, and so they're not part of the diaspora. That is not true. Just because we identify with the culture of being born and raised in Jamaica and all that comes along with it doesn't mean that we're not a part of the diaspora and that we don't consider ourselves to be black people. Yes, there's yin and yang in every culture, but we have to stop this separating people, because we really are, oh my gosh, all one, and we have to get it together versus pitting each other against one another, which is why we're having the conversation about Kamala Harris right now. The fact of the matter is she has immigrant parents, but she was born and raised right here in America. She's a black woman, American. All right, so let me just make sure that I have these next guests. Let me just make sure I have this properly here. Andrew Howell, founder and chairperson of the Race for Peace Committee, former mainline branch NAACP Labor and Industry Committee chairman. I talked to Andrew before. Andrew, are you on?
Yes, ma'am, I am. And good afternoon, everyone, and we love all the listeners.
Okay, so we were on last week or the week before. Who else do you have on this call?
My name is Hameen Diggins. I am the vice president of a nonprofit called Men of Action Brothers of Faith, also a life coach, and I'm a member of the Race for Peace Committee.
Okay, so I know somebody in your group.
Yes.
You want to name him?
Mr. Ed Brown.
Ed Brown. Yes, I know Ed Brown, and I spoke to your group last year or the year before. Yes, I didn't meet you though. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And Chris Flanagan, who are you, sir?
I am the chief of police for Radnor Township.
You're the chief of police for Radnor Township?
That is correct.
Okay.
Also, our organization is part of the Race for Peace.
Okay. Radnor Township. Oh, Andrew, you came prepared this time, huh?
Well, you were talking to my son previously, which is Lane Howe. This is Andrew Howe.
Well, go ahead. Okay. Okay. And Alita Olde?
No, you talking about Aletta?
Aletta, yes. Aletta, are you there?
Aletta?
I don't hear Aletta.
Hello, Aletta?
All right, Donald Jackson.
Donald, yes, Don, identify yourself, please.
Yes, my name is Donald Jackson. I'm one of the owners of Philadelphia Technician Training Institute, and also the owner of Boss Global Urban Navigation.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And then Andrew Howell, the dad.
Yes.
Okay. So I spoke to your son last week, and I had a bunch of questions that I don't think he could answer correctly for me. So I'm glad to have you back on so that we could really navigate through this, because it is important for me. Let me tell you this in the interest of full disclosure. I have been an implicit bias trainer and anti-racist trainer for over 20 years. I've worked with lots and lots of police departments. I know what is capable of happening with our communities and police departments when we work together. And I wanted him to be able to push that language out so that people would have a better understanding of what it is that you were trying to do. So who wants to start and tell me about this group now?
I'll let my vice president talk. Diggins.
Okay, go ahead, Hameen.
Go ahead.
Okay. And how are you? And good morning to all your listening audience.
Yes.
The Race for Peace, Andrew Howe is the founder of the Race for Peace. The Race for Peace it came together in order to bridge the gap between the police and the community. It was very important for us to network with the police and the community, where we held panels, panel discussions where the community was able to voice their concerns, and as well as the different police chiefs and police officers from different districts. We also did community events to bring the community together. We held barbecues. We held different functions at the King of Prussia Mall. We've been into mass jids in order to have panel discussions. We've also been into training institutions in order to have discussions. So that's one of the main goals, is to have a dual education where the cops can understand the community, the police can understand the community, but the community can also understand the police side of things. And we would keep it, as they say, 100, where, we didn't screen any questions. We really let people say what was on their mind. But it was very important for us to, with everything that's going on, is to let everybody from the community to the police officers see a different perspective and let them hear from each other. Because at the end of the day, we understood that the community's trying to make it home, but the police officers
they're trying to make it home too.
Make it home also.
Agreed.
And we wanted to at least bring that one concept together, that no matter what, we both need to understand that, not just one party, but we needed to understand also the differences. What the police officers didn't understand and what the community did not also understand regarding them. And we were able to do that in a lot of occasions, and we hope to continue doing that work.
That was perfectly stated. Now, who's speaking to me now?
Yeah, this is Andrew again. I would just like to add that we did not think inside the box. We thought outside the box as far as the recruitment. So we had 5 different counties that works with us: Bucks County, Chester County, Delaware County, Montgomery County, and Philadelphia County, with the law enforcement, clergy, government officials, and other community organizations. So we're well-rounded. Anybody could join. you know, any sex, any age. It doesn't matter what political affiliation that you are. We're all in this for one thing. And I think one of your guys that called in on my son and said, what does the race for peace mean? So the race for peace was comprised, because I was watching Speed Racer all my life. I would just tell you the truth. I wanted to be the Indianapolis 500 or the Daytona 500 winner, so I couldn't do that. So I started the Race for Peace. Race stands for the race that you are. Peace is the violence that we have in the streets, so I said peace for that. And the committee part is who do you talk to when you go to Washington? Committees. So it's called the Race for Peace Committee. It only takes one, and God blessed me to be the one person to be able to spearhead this. And we do it right now, immediate action right now with speed and accuracy. So we don't wait for a lot of other things to happen. We try to be preventive with discrimination, racism, and violence.
Now, that is exactly what I was looking to hear. I needed to hear that because we're in a place right now in the country where we need to hear from each other and really hear from police officers and the community. So we've always heard one side or the other. Some of us are in the unique position of understanding what both sides look like. So as a part of the work that I do, because I'm still doing it, I would go into, well, with COVID I haven't been able to, but I would do a whole shift with the police department, right? So I'd go in with a police officer and do a 12, 14-hour shift with them so that I could get a bird's eye view of what they saw and experienced in the street. It informed the way I worked with them in their training, because if I could see what they were thinking and how they were, what they were dealing with every day, then I could understand how they made the choices and the decisions that they made, right? So it created a good working partnership with them, and we were able to shift policies and change certain things. So I'm going to put in Chief Flanagan. Are you there? Chief Flanagan?
I am here, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon. All right. So, you know, I wanted to talk to you, pull you in and talk to you, because I need you to tell me, how did you get involved with the Race for Peace Committee, and what has shifted in the police department as a direct result of it?
So I got a kind of a random phone call from the founder, Andrew Howell, who told me about the Race for Peace, and he said he was up the street talking to Lower Merion Police, Superintendent Mike McGrath, and that they were going to start building this concept, the Race for Peace, and the items that Andrew just went over. And what he said is there's an easy opportunity for you to get involved immediately and make a difference.
Right.
So we had breakfast in Ardmore, where I live, and the next thing you know, we had great buy-in with what he was talking about, and we would put plans together and implemented them, and I'll go along with the show when we talk about those things, what we've done and where we want to go, but that's as simply as it started with a phone call or a knock on the door, and here we are.
Yes. And so you began having the conversations. What has come out of the conversations thus far for your police department in particular?
So specifically for our agency, it allowed us to have conversations. Andrew and the concept, which then became the Race for Peace, was a fulcrum, a device to open a door, start a conversation, and discuss whatever the current topics are. Since we've been doing this for the length of time, I think we started when there was a lot of violence.
Yes.
And, you know, we were trying to have conversations about those type of problems. And what was unique for our police department, and it's two-sided. Internally, we got to meet people, go to churches in Philadelphia, hear about different issues, hear about how people from the city viewed police officers, which is a different way than our community views police officers. So it gave us a much more well-rounded level of respect. We actually were able to go into one of the local Muslim communities of Philadelphia. They invited us in a very rare opportunity, and we were able to watch them do prayers and take part of it, greet their audience, talk to some of the Muslim women, and go over some of the things that they experience when they meet police officers. So it's helped us grow. On an external approach, it helps our community understand we're not just sitting back. We want to learn more. We want to experience more, because that means we're better responsive to our community and what their challenges may be. And the Race for Peace is changing. It's not set on one way. It's not just talking about peace. It's not just talking about violence. Now it's talking about relationships with the community, which you mentioned, ma'am, in the beginning of your show. It's transitional, the organization, and it allows us to kind of take the topics of the particular time frame that we're operating, or the community we're operating, transition to it, and make things attempt to make things better and to have a conversation about it at the minimum.
Yes, thank you so much, Chief Flanagan. Let me ask Donald, Hameen, and Andrew this. You started this with the option that you were going to, with the thought process that you wanted to create a better working relationship with police officers. Since you began, when did you start this, Andrew? When did you start this whole program?
2016.
Okay, so it's now 2020, Andrew, and as you can see all the stuff that's going on around the country, how have you pivoted your work with the Race for Peace Committee? And I'm asking all three of you, Hameen, Donald, and Andrew. How have you pivoted this work in the Race for Peace Committee so you can have something beyond a transactional experience with the community who are just now all up in arms because of all the things that are happening? We all know not all police, because I guess we have to say, not all police officers are bad people. We know that there's few of them in the force that are doing some things that they're not supposed to be doing. How are you having conversations across the police departments and the communities around what can police chiefs do in their stations, in their precincts, to create a difference? And what do they do when they get complaints about certain police officers? Well, how are you pivoting?
I'll let Don answer first, second, and I'll go last.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, Donald.
Well, as one of the owners of Philadelphia Technician Training Institute, which is where the old Marine Institute building was at. Mm-hmm. Well, it still is. It's the Marine building, but it's our building. Mm-hmm. We deal with about 1,500 youth from the city of Philadelphia and different inner city communities. You know, some of them come from the suburbs, but most of them come from the inner city. What I realize is, and what we make sure that they realize in our interaction with them, this is 1,500 youth a year. We train them in highly skilled trades, welding, manufacturing, industrial, electrical. We do bricklaying, masonry, concrete, pipe fitting, steam fitting, and medical instrument sterilization. One of these students, 5-time felon, he's getting paid $3,250 a week. His take home is $5,000 a week. So the mindset that we instill is that no matter what the background comes from, you can be what you want to. You just have to have this guidance. And this is where urban navigation comes in. You can basically think of urban navigation as a GPS for the youth, because they seriously need a roadmap to be able, if you grow up in the inner city, you grow up with a different mindset than if you grow up in the suburbs in the county. So we try to direct them into where they want to be and not where they think they want to be, so to speak.
Okay. All right. Hameen?
Aletta's on the phone, too, by the way.
Oh, Aletta? Okay. Okay. Aletta, are you there?
You are there, right, Aletta?
Aletta?
Yes,
I hear you now. Hello. How are you?
How are you? I'm fine. Thank you very much for asking.
So listen, I'm trying to figure out how you have all pivoted. We have 7 minutes left. I want to figure out how you have all pivoted in light of all the unrest in the country in this Race for Peace committee. What have you done? What are you doing differently now than what you've done when you first started?
Well, I'm having more conversations. First, let me just say that I'm with AOK Business Services, and I do small business and community development. And one was invited by Andrew to come, and we helped get the 501c3. And how things have changed for me, because I am on my way to my grandson's funeral. And he's 26. And please let me tell you that we have been having conversations like everybody say something. When we were growing up, the police officers could call you by name. They knew your parents. So some of that has to come back. We have to not just ride around. We still need our walking people to know who our young people are, because if you catch them young, they're likely to not come up. I used to work at the Youth Study Center before I retired from the school district, and it was conversations, because young people can't even tell you why they're angry, so you have to ask them questions, because we have a habit of saying, so what are you mad at? They don't know, they're just mad. So we have to do better at asking questions that they can give you answers to. Then we can go and get a solution to help them. Can't help the world, So we can help as many as we can.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that, and my condolences to you and your family about your grandson. Amin?
Yeah. Another thing that we do is that we also try to connect the community where we have people on the committee that have been through a lot of similar things. Now, for transparency, I had a brother that was killed by a police officer. So for me to sit on a committee like this, but be able to talk to the community and say that, listen, I understand how you feel, but let me tell you and show you what I have seen.
Right.
So I've had discussions with different police officers, and I got to see them in a very different light and understand, just like there's good and bad people, there's good and bad officers, but we cannot hold them accountable as a whole. But we can make a difference, and that's where listening to each other, educating each other, even, with police officers, training from the community as far as with the conversation to say, hey, here's what's going on in my community where I live. These are the things that we're going through. So if you bring in police officers from other townships and so forth that may just not know what's going on in the inner city, it gives them a different type of education to take back. So when somebody's driving through their township from the city, they now know what probably they didn't know because they were able to see, wait a minute, okay, I understand.
Yes,
I know about the profile and I know about, X, Y, and Z. So being able to have this dual education,
thank you.
It helps everybody. Because if most parents would say, listen, I didn't know because you never told me. All you had to do was say something. And this is what we're doing. We're saying, listen, in order for us to understand each other, we both have to say something. It's not just the community complaints, but it's the cops' complaint. Get to know me. Don't fear what you don't know or what you don't understand. And this is what we bring with the panel discussion. This is what we bring when we go into the community. When we take the cops into communities that they've never been to before, that's a different education. And I've seen the look personally on some of their faces like, wow, I didn't know this. Thank you.
Yes.
And this is what we have to continue to do. We have to educate each other.
And communicate openly and transparently, right? My friend Kaki says with communication, all things are possible. Andrew, you have the last minute, sir. I am so impressed. Thank you.
No, we're very impressed with you guys, and we're just doing our part, and we don't deserve a pat on the back or nothing, no trophy. We just want everybody to do their part, and we're just one group, one organization, one movement that, chooses to continue. We had the event a couple of weeks ago at the King of Prussia Mall where there was 10 different police departments, but out of the 10 police departments, 7 chiefs came.
7 chiefs.
7 chiefs of police.
Now that's huge, Andrew.
They come to the meetings. I want to stress this, though. I want to stress that they come to the meetings, they come to the event, and they do whatever they can to go beyond the call of duty, because that's the chief. They don't have to come to these events.
You're absolutely
but
right.
I express to them that if they see the leader doing it, then the others will follow. As far as what's going on here and today with the society, with the cops and, the killings and stuff like that, we as community members is 21st century policing. So the police are the community and the community is the police. The public is the police and the police is the public. 21st century policing is really a no-brainer. We have to step up and do our job because it's blacks, getting killed by blacks on these streets every day. And sometimes, we have to get back on course of that's a major problem, and I tell people that all the time. It's a lot of us dying. I mean, little kids, little females. It's really bad.
It is really bad.
And I tell people you have to admit a problem. So we do have a problem in Black America. It's not just Philly, Chicago, Memphis, and other places also. And we have to get a grip on us killing us.
Yes, agreed.
I feel for the citizens of the United States that have the families that have people murdered by the police department and stuff like that. I feel for them. But we also have to take account of our own self-destruction.
All right, so Andrew, I am literally out of time. And I mean, 15 seconds. How can people reach you?
They can reach me by emailing me, Andrew Howell, 2009 at yahoo.com. They can call me, 267-339-4313. They can get in contact with the Race for Peace on social media or on our website.
Thank you so much. So Andrew Howell, 2009 at yahoo.com?
At yahoo.com.
267
my phone number is
339
267-339-4313. I always leave my phone number open because 9 times out of 10 you can't reach the boss man or the boss woman.
Yes.
So I'm a little different. I like people to be able to reach me.
Okay, will do. They'll call you because, WURD listeners will call. All right, thank you all so much. Andrew Howell, Donald Jackson, Aletta O'Day, Hameen Diggins, and Chris Flanagan, Chief of Police of Radnor Township. Thank you all so much for calling in to let me know about the Race for Peace Committee, okay? Have a good afternoon, all of you.
Thank you.
All right.
Be safe, everybody.
All right, bye-bye.
All right.
Bye-bye. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Weather and traffic to keep you informed for your drive home in the happy hour with Sincerely Sarita, Monday through Thursday 4 till 7 p.m. right here on Word Radio 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Listen to Laborers Live. We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour workday, trying to work people more than 8 hours without overtime, trying to work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.
The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by LESIT, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity.
Local 332, Sam Staton Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager, and Tony Staton, Executive Director of LESIT.
He was the heart of your family, and he taught you our history. He helped you fix your first flat. He was the best backyard DJ around, and every time he'd tell a story, he'd own the room. But now more than ever, he may feel alone. Today, older adults and their loved ones are struggling to connect, in a time when connection has never been more important. But there is something we can do. Embrace our older loved ones through StoryCorps Connect. With StoryCorps Connect, you can honor seniors remotely with an interview about their life. Every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history, so that years from now, future generations can listen in.
All right, Grandpa, what's one piece of advice you have for me?
Just 3 words, sweetheart. Live with courage. The man that had the best stories still has plenty of stories to tell. So connect virtually and share the conversation of a lifetime at storycorpsconnect.org/AARP. Connect, honor, share. StoryCorps Connect. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on Word Radio. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the Word Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Before I take our final guest for the day, I'm going to take the phone call from Woody, but I just need you all to know, stay tuned. This is the Farmer John, Krista Barfield. I can't wait for you all to have the conversation. Let me talk to her for 1 second before I talk to Woody. Krista.
Yes.
I posted your thing. Listen, honey, I posted about your Farmer John on social media on Saturday. Yes. If I had 1,000 people ask me, how do I get to her? Where's the location? I heard about her. So just hang on real tight for me, and let me just take this one caller, and then you and I can have a good conversation, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, hold on. Yes. Woody.
I feel like I'm stealing you all the time. I don't know what the heck's going on. I feel like a thief. I don't like that feeling. I mean, look, motherly love, everybody loves you, and everybody wants you, and I'm very proud that you're doing 26 miles now.
Oh, listen, Woody, Woody, I did 32 miles last week. 32, and I did. And wait a minute, Woody, I'm going to tell you so that everybody can hear it now. Starting Monday, I'm going to be on Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. I got an extra day with The Source.
Wow. Well,
Right?
I am so proud of you. Now you're going to make me have to go into the 30s now. I was doing 28. Now I got to shift to 30 because you're doing 32.
Woody, I got news for you. I'm working my way up to 45 because I really want to do 80.
But Woody, you won't have that much weight left on Mother.
I know, Woody, but
you got to leave some for the children.
I am so enjoying it, Woody. I'm looking at triathlons. My mother knew I was going to do this. She was like, Andrea, you don't do anything regular.
Wow.
And so what started out as a health thing, I mean, I dropped the 35 pounds, but I firmly believe when I'm finished with this, I would have dropped 60 pounds.
Wow.
I know.
Wow. Well, anyway, listen, I don't want to hold you up because I know this next young lady is somebody that you want to talk to.
Yes.
I was saying to you that you were working up to this race for peace, which was good. We had talked about that.
Yes.
But what I wanted to do is see that FOP and the Guardian Civic League coming together on a program of gaining more understanding about the inner police. You see, you got external police is one thing, but when the inner gets along, the outer gets along.
Yes.
So I really think that spirit in itself, by just like digging in a little bit, because we all got little question marks about a lot of things emotionally because we come from different cultural groups.
Yes.
But as I stated to you before, one race called human with many, many cultures and ethnicities, one color called melanin with many shades. We can never convince the world that that whole issue of how we view race is what's dividing everything in our mind, body, and spirit about this country. So that, to me, I think would start something new. And as I shared with you before, that office that I talked to you about for the non-immigrants is very, very important in City Hall. And it would be loaded with college kids from every culture and ethnicity, I'm telling you, to come and find out about the story. So you're doing a good job. I'm going to leave it at that, but I always wanted to put that bug back in your ear.
Yes, Woody, I have not forgotten it.
I
Trust
just
Mother.
want to make sure you have it. But before you lose any more weight, and look, I still haven't seen you yet, so you're going to be half the woman.
Oh, I'm telling you. Listen.
When I do see you.
Listen, Woody, it's going to be all right. My husband asked me last week. He said, "Where's Woody? Woody hasn't called in this week."
Tell him, that's my main man. You know, we both from South Philly, so we know what's up. So we all know that your weight is not what's up anymore.
Thank you so much,
right,
Woody.
sure.
Have a good one.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Krista. Are you there, Krista?
I am.
So, listen, y'all. We have been talking about the Farmer John. I'm calling her the Farmer John because I heard about her a few weeks ago. You see, everybody knows, Krista, in the black community that I am the one that will promote anything that's happening with black folks, right? They know. So several weeks ago, they were like, you've got to go see this Farmer John. White folk, Krista. White folk.
I love it.
Andrea, you've got to. There's a black woman in Elkins Park doing this thing called Farmer John, and I tried to get you on, and our lines got crossed. And then this past Saturday, on my way up to New Hope to see about a friend, I said, let me just stop and see. Girl.
And you did.
Let me tell you something. I just need you to know, and I'm saying this plain as day. I'm Jamaican. I love cabbage from the depth of my soul. My sisters laugh all the time and say I could eat cabbage until I turn into a cabbage. I ain't never had a can of cabbage that tasted like the one I bought from you on Saturday.
Yes.
What in the Sam? Yes. Krista, you're going to make me now come to find you every Saturday for my cabbage.
Oh, yes, that makes me very happy. Very good. And it's organic.
Yes. It tastes. So here I go. Well, what in the Sam Hill are they feeding us in the markets?
Exactly. No, that's a true statement. Yeah, for sure.
So welcome to The Source, honey. You are on WURD Black Talk Media. This is Krista Barfield, y'all. I know I sound excited, but I'm loving the organic food. I'm from the land of my birth of Jamaica. We like things coming out of the ground. We don't like pesticides. We don't like additives. We don't like any of those things. And so to see that you're a young sister doing this, I am super proud of you. Now tell everybody, I know you are from the Viva Leaf company. You do Viva Leaf tea too?
Yeah, I own Viva Leaf tea as well.
Oh, you know what? You're going to stop playing with me in these. And sweeteners, hand curated so Viva Leaf Tea Company provides a botanical collection of tea and sweeteners, hand curated with fresh organic herbs for the purpose of optimal wellness. So that's where I saw the honeys there too, correct?
Yes, that's absolutely right. Yeah, so we're actually all of our honeys are being featured in the Bruno Brothers and at their stores and online right now.
You have done risen into. I can't take it. I can't take it. Listen, tell everybody who you are on WURD Radio, because they're probably wondering why I'm so geeked out about this organic food. Tell them how you got started in all of this and who you are.
Absolutely. So, yes, my name is Krista Barfield. People like to call me the Farmer John, but actually I named the company Farmer John just because I am a person who farms, and I'm from Philly. And I believe that anybody that comes from a metropolitan, that comes from a place where it's concrete all around them, can find a piece of grass and start to grow their own food. So anybody can be Farmer John, essentially. And I actually got inspired to begin farming 2 years ago. I worked in healthcare for 10 years, very stressed out. That's actually what my degree is in. And I had employees, I had multiple physicians who I managed their money and their patient access and insurance, and I decided that I needed to resign for my own personal health and the health of my household as well. I just wasn't taking care of myself, and I could do a better job of taking care of them. So I made a decision that I was going to resign, and I did, not having anything else lined up. It was the month of my 30th birthday. I resigned on January 2nd, 2018, and my birthday was January 19th. On January 23rd, 2018, I was on a plane to Martinique, all by myself for a trip for myself, kind of like an eat, pray, love, getting back to the basics and what was important. And I was met these two different encounters with Airbnbs that I stayed at. I only picked the Airbnbs because I was looking for a swimming pool. That was the only requirement. And the first Airbnb I stayed at on one side of the island was this Thai chef who every single morning he woke up and made me a cup of tea using herbs that he picked from his backyard. And the second Airbnb on the other side of the island was this family of black farmers who took me to their land to let me go see it, and they had a CSA pickup, which I wasn't familiar with at the time.
Tell everybody what a CSA is.
Yeah, so CSA means community-supported agriculture. It's essentially members of your farm. So these are the people that help to keep your farm going, and they're your members. So right now I have 50 members at Farmer John. But
so what does it cost to be a CSA member for Farmer John?
Yeah, so the cost of it is we try to range our boxes between $25 to $30 per week. So right now it's $400 for the whole season. So it's 12 weeks. It guarantees you a full box of produce, fruits, and vegetables for the entire season. And then we do that again for another 12 weeks.
Wow.
So that's how that works out.
Did
you
say it's $400 for the whole season?
Yeah, $400 for the whole 12-week season. So that breaks down to $25 a week. So you can essentially pay for it up front, but most CSAs have you pay for it up front. So I do it on a need base. I like to make sure that all people can be involved. And so I do a $100 deposit and then $25 weekly.
You better. Okay. And how do I sign up for this? Because I'm about to sign up, right? After eating that cabbage, you might as well, girl.
September. So I'll be doing a fall CSA because we have greenhouses, so we'll grow all season. And
wow.
So most CSAs stop when you're unable to keep growing. We have greenhouses which are heated, so we'll grow all year long. So very unique to this region. So not many people are able to do that. So our fall CSA will begin the end of October. Sign up starts the end of September. So just watch out on our pages on IG and Instagram. IG and Facebook to be able to sign up. And also go to our website because you'll be able to sign up through there as well.
Yes. So you started a whole plan, and you did it in a way that would be sustainable instead of waiting for people to come to you every Saturday. You're open how many days a week at the...
Yes. So right now we're open only on Fridays and Saturdays. Friday from 12 to 7, Saturday from 9 to 3. So, yeah.
Wow. So you come back from Martinique and you said, what am I doing?
Yeah, I'm going to take these two experiences with these two very different people, groups of people, and I'm going to turn it into companies. Started the tea company first, started growing herbs and creating blends that for the wellness of us, and then said, I have all this extra space, let me start growing some food here. Got good at growing food, and I was like, all right, I could do this for some families. So I started growing for 10 people, and then I moved into this greenhouse space, and I was like, okay, I can ramp this up a little bit. So.
Wow. Wow. And did you think it was going to do as well as it's been doing?
No, it's been absolutely amazing. Just the support, just the awareness that and the interest that people have is definitely heightened from people spending more time home, is everybody's been able to reset and slow down since we've gotten to this pandemic. So I think it's really good that people now are wanting to take care of themselves.
Yes.
Using the earth.
Yes, Krista. So I have to tell you, it's so funny. I didn't realize that you were someone who lived in Philadelphia. I thought you lived in Elkins Park. I live in Philadelphia, and I'm growing corn. I have 5 ears of corn shooting up out of my thing. I have a cucumber patch that cucumber. Somebody should have told me that the cucumber patch is going to spread all over the place.
Yeah.
It is so invasive. I found 2 cucumbers in my peach tree because it just, the limb just, I was like, oh,
it
see now.
climbs.
Yes, yes. I have carrots in my garden, along with all the beautiful flowers. I have collards. I have 2 different types of collards. And I have callaloo. It's a Jamaican like spinach, but I've grown my own callaloo. The lanternflies tore that up, so I couldn't even eat that. And I'm growing peppers. I grew my own onions, and I grew garlic. Right?
Yes,
and
you are doing it.
Oh, listen, honey, this is why I'm so intrigued by you, because I only have a small patch of grass, but I was like, instead of just using the grass to plant flowers, why don't I use it and make it a double, And you can grow anything. You can grow anything.
It's so simple. I just want to educate our people, especially on how to manipulate earth and how it's so easy to grow your own food. You just need a little bit of land. If you don't have any land, we can give you some. You can get some planter boxes and put it on your steps.
Come on. So Mecca Shabazz says, please drop the info. So if people want to know, how can they get to you? Where are you located?
Yeah, so please come visit us at 770 Jenkintown Road, Elkins Park, Pennsylvania, 19027. It is right on the edge of Northwest Philadelphia and the Northeast. So we're sandwiched in between Mount Airy and Northeast Philadelphia, right off of Cotman Avenue.
And if they want to, and if they want to be a CSA?
Yeah, so go to our website, www.farmerjohnphilly.com. And go ahead and become a subscriber, and you'll get all the information as it rolls out in September.
One more thing. You are looking for brown people to support you in terms of volunteers. So
yes, and volunteers and also staffing as well.
Okay.
I would like to, it's important for me to push forward our people as well and making sure that we know how to grow food and that we're not scared of the dirt and the bugs and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm looking for people to email me at info@farmerjohnsphilly.com. And if you are interested in learning how to manipulate the earth for the betterment of yourself and our people.
If somebody wanted to grow where you are, because I love manipulating the earth, and do they get to eat what they grow, some of it?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
That's important to me. You're going to go home with food pretty much every day.
Yes. Okay. And I tell you what, I am intrigued. Thank you so much. What do you want us to know about the Viva Leaf Company before I get off the air with you? Because we've been talking about the farmer.
Yes. Well, what I will say is that it would be lovely if you all would go visit thebrunobrothers.com or their locations. Our honeys are in there. And also we are debuting, nobody else knows this, we're debuting Grow, Sit, Repeat, which is the model of the company. It's a plant and tea cafe that will be opening at 6730 Germantown Avenue the first week of September.
What? Say that again. Yeah. Say that whole thing again.
6730 Grow, Sit, Repeat is the name of the plant and tea cafe. I'm opening essentially as a plant store that also serves tea and other beverages. And it'll be located at 6730 Germantown Avenue, Philadelphia, PA. It is the Mount Airy Germantown section of the city. And it is open the first week of September.
First week of September. And you heard it here first on The Source.
Yes, you did. No one else knows.
Yes, honey. Yes. I am so stoked. So Grow, Fit, Repeat is opening at 6730 Germantown Avenue in Mount Airy in the first week of September. If you want to reach the Farmer John and learn how to grow, manipulate the dirt, it's info, or is it Farmer John?
Info at farmerjohnphilly.com.
farmerjohnphilly.com.
Farmer John Philly on Instagram as well.
Okay. Wow. Krista, it's a pleasure talking to you. You're going to see my happy little face more often than you want to.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you on Saturday.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye, honey. Bye-bye. Wow. Before I go to break, I need to read this to you, and I should have read it at 1:24. Got really sidetracked because of all that was going on in here. Founders Day is this Thursday. Join us this Thursday, August 20th, for our annual Founders Day celebration honoring the life and legacy of Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD, Philly-born physician, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and founder of WURD Radio. We will devote the entire day from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. to special Founders Day programming that includes panels on doctors fighting on the front lines for access and equity, economic empowerment through entrepreneurship, celebrating the 100th anniversary of the women's right to vote with Black women elected officials, and reflections on Dr. Lomax's legacy with family and friends throughout the day. We will also be reintroducing WURD's Livelihood Initiative designed to connect Black Philadelphians to jobs, career readiness information, entrepreneurship, opportunities, and financial literacy. You can listen all day on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, wordradio.com, or through the WURD app, and you can watch the panels through the WURD TV by going to facebook.com/forward or via the WURD website. There is also a special day Founders discount for WURD membership. Join or renew on Founders Day for the discounted price of $80. Regular membership price is $90. Go to wordradio.com for the full lineup and to register for Founders Day so you are eligible to win prizes and special giveaways throughout the day. I am so stoked and looking forward to Founders Day. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Always Best Care is a great place to work.
Flexibility, leadership, purpose,
great benefits.
There's never a dull moment.
Diversity, inclusion, compasión.
We love our jobs. If you're looking for a great place to work, you can join our compassionate Team Green. You can apply online at teamgreenabc.com or call 267-909-9248.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
So you just finished binge watching that entire TV series? Now it's time to binge listen at wordradio.com. Check out our archives of WURD on demand and listen to some of the most memorable moments from your favorite hosts. WURD Radio on demand. Check it out right now at wordradio.com/podcasts.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Mecca, it's John, J-A-W-N, like Philly John. You know, we're going to go see that John. It's info@farmerjohnphilly.com. So it's J-A-W-N. But thank you so much for repeating what you hear me say on the radio. Listen, we only have a few minutes left, and there's some things that I would like to discuss with you on this back end. And I'm going to talk about Founders Day again before I get off the air. There has been a couple of groups that have sprouted up in recent years that I need you all to pay attention to. One of them is called the Proud Boys. We've heard about them coming through Philadelphia with the Philadelphia Police Department when Mike Pence came through here. The other one is called the Boogaloo Movement, which just started last year in 2019. And the other one is QAnon. I'm going to give you a brief detailing around all of them. And I'm telling you this because I firmly believe that we have to be very careful now moving forward, because these people have been building up a base of hatred and guns and all sorts of other things within our communities. And we have had mayors and governors saying that they're showing up in their communities and pretending that they're Black people. You know, they're wearing Hawaiian shirts, all these different symbols of hate. They're wearing Hawaiian shirts and doing things that look like a peace sign or a Playboy sign, but they actually mean hateful things. And so we have to be aware of what we are looking at in our community. So the Boogaloo movement is gaining momentum. And so the Boogaloo Boys, during recent months of unrest over coronavirus shutdowns and deaths of unarmed Black Americans in police custody, a right-wing extremist group aimed at overthrowing the government has been growing. The Boogaloo movement, named for a 1980s breakdancing movie and and characterized by members who carry weapons and wear Hawaiian shirts and tactical gear, looks to exploit unrest in order to start a second civil war. And I saw them here in Philadelphia with their Hawaiian shirts on, and I kept asking, who are these white men? They had their faces covered, and they didn't want to really speak to anybody. Turned out they were members of the Boogaloo movement, right? But there are various facets to the loosely organized group. One generally stems from its original ties to neo-Nazis and white supremacists, while a newer facet is libertarian. There's a lot of overlap, and the boundary is blurry because they both evolved together, says Alex Newhouse, digital research lead at Middlebury's Institute Center on Terrorism, Extremism, and Counterterrorism. It's very difficult to know if the Boogaloo boy you see standing in the middle of the street at a protest is there in solidarity or to incite violence. So you have to be very careful. Antifa. What is Antifa and what does the movement want? While the full group is not expected to perform large-scale attacks, individual actors are more likely to initiate violence, Newhouse said. And so, listen, I need you all to pay attention. There are mainly two wings to the Boogaloo movement, but their objective of overthrowing the government and sparking societal collapse remains the same, Newhouse says. One side, made up of neo-Nazis and white supremacists, whose plan for destroying the government is by starting a race war. Hear what I just said to you. And so they're planning and they're having conversations and they're showing up in our communities. They're showing up when we are having protests and starting riots and breaking into things. And Cherry Gregg was the first one that saw some of that happening live while she was streaming live. But I saw some of it myself while I was out there. They look innocent, but they're not. They're talking, there are new symbols of hate. I need you all to go look at, this was written on September 28th, 2019 by A.J. Willingham on CNN. And so I need you all to go look up what the new symbols of hate are, because what you think might be, that might be something innocent, like what happened with the NAACP president recently, could be symbols of hate, right? And they're reimagining them and they're looking a little different. So I need you all to pay attention about that piece. The Proud Boys is a far-right neo-fascist organization that admits only men as members and promotes and engages in political violence. It is based in the United States and has a presence in Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom. The group was started as a joke in the far-right Takis magazine in 2016 by Vice Media co-founder and former commentator Gavin McInnes, taking its name from the song Proud of Your Boy from the Disney film Aladdin. Proud Boys emerged as a part of the alt-right, but in early 2017, McInnes began distancing himself from the alt-right, saying that the alt-right focus is race, while his focus is what he defines as Western values. This rebranding effort intensified after the Unite the Right rally. The group believes men, especially white men, and Western culture are under siege. And so they want their country back. And so there's a lot going on there with them. And so I need you to pay attention and know what they stand for. And their Proud Boys, their insignia is a rooster with stars all around it. So you got to know what these things are and what you're looking at, right? And so then the other thing is QAnon. August 17, 2020, after a weekend of violent protests in several cities, a Michigan city's public safety chief apologized for the arrest of a black reporter and the trauma it caused a young man who was reporting on demonstration by the far right-wing group known as the Proud Boys. And so, you know, there's a lot going on out here. Representative Kinzinger says it's time for leaders to disavow QAnon. I need you to look up who these people are, what they espouse. They are your neighbors. There are your students that you're teaching in school. There are in your churches, and they believe that they want their America back, and they have been having latent conversations about starting race wars right in our communities. I need us to pay attention. Oftentimes when we hear about violence in our communities, we have to make sure that it's people in our communities that are committing these violent acts, because these folks want to start something, and they wanted to make it look like we're just super out of control, and so there's a lot going on here. I am not telling you anything that you cannot go and read for yourself. Okay? I don't want you to listen to me and say, well, Andrea said it. Nope. Go do your own research. Research the Proud Boys, research QAnon, and research the Antifa movement, and research the Boogaloo movement, because all of them are coming together, and we have to be very mindful. And I'm asking us so, really pay attention to what's going on with ourselves. David, I'm not asking anybody to be cowards. I'm telling people to be aware so they know what's going on, so that they can do what they have to do to protect themselves. There is a difference. But if we don't know what we're looking at, and if we see a bunch of men in Hawaiian shirts and we don't know what they're about, we need knowledge is key here. We need to gain the knowledge so that we know what we're doing moving forward. The last thing I'm going to do today is talk again about Founders Day. So for those of you who have missed it, I am now moving from Tuesdays and Thursdays to now Monday, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'll be on the Source from 1 to 4 p.m. until further notice, and so I'll be here. Rapping Professor Dr. Aaron Smith is going to be in the 7 o'clock time slot, so I'm taking over his slot on Monday. So I am here with you all, and I'm excited to add another day to the roster because I have so much to talk about and just never seem to have enough time. Join us this Thursday, August 20th, for our annual Founders Day celebration honoring the life and legacy of Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD, Philly-born physician, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and founder of WURD Radio. We will devote the entire day from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. to special Founders Day programming that includes panels on doctors fighting on the front lines for access and equity, economic empowerment through entrepreneurship, celebrating the 100th anniversary of the women's right to vote with Black women elected officials, and reflections on Dr. Lomax's legacy with family and friends throughout the day. We will also be reintroducing WURD's Livelihood Initiative, designed to connect Black Philadelphians to jobs, career readiness information, entrepreneurship opportunities, and financial literacy. You can listen all day on 900 96.1 FM, WURDradio.com, or through the Word Radio app, and you can watch the panels through Word TV by going to facebook.com/4word, WURD, or via the Word website. There is also a special Founders Day discount for the 4word membership. Join or renew on Founders Day for the discounted price of $80. Regular membership price is $90. Go to wordradio.com for the full lineup and to register for Founders Day so you are eligible to win prizes and special giveaways throughout the day. We are coming to the end of another episode of The Source. Thank you all. Thank you all for tuning in. I am learning as you are learning, and one of the things that I've always said with my group that I walk around and spend time with is knowledge is key. It is not enough for us to get agitated and full of angst and talk about things that we know nothing about and make a whole bunch of noise. If we inform ourselves and we read and understand what is going on around us, we can make informed decisions, not just for our families, but for our community, so that we can move forward. We have to stop belly aching. Stop running up and down and making a bunch of noise with nothing to show for it. Philadelphia is still in dire straits in terms of health, in terms of education, in terms of employment, in terms of housing, housing security. And so we have got to get to a place where we're talking to one another and really making tangible differences without just always wanting ourselves to be heard with nothing to show for it. We've got to cut it out. Okay? And on this show, we're going to continue to have the conversations and the dialogues that will get us to the place where we're making informed decisions versus moving from a lack of intelligence, a lack of emotional intelligence, because we're so busy being hyped that we forget to look at what's in front of us and how to move forward. That's how I learned growing up on the island of Jamaica. That's how Nanny of the Maroons was able to hold back the British soldiers for years and took hundreds of them out, right? We have to plan and stop letting everybody know what our plans are too. Work together. Unity is what is important, right? Beyond our ego, beyond self-serving, and beyond just wanting to have ourselves heard. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. Coming up next is Sincerely Sarita for Happy Hour. I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.
Brothers and sisters, we've seen enough. It's time to get together. We can do big things together, just like they did. President Obama and Vice President Biden passed healthcare reform, helped rescue the auto industry, and created more than 15 million jobs. And right now, together, we can help Joe Biden do it again as president, to unify this country and fix the issues that we're facing right now. Real police reform, expanding access to high-quality education, protecting our right to vote, and rebuilding the economy so that it works for us. Now is the time for us to rise up and do this together with Joe Biden. Go to joebiden.com/Black America to learn more.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for President.